we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate you for that. We got a whole lot going on tonight. There's a whole lot happening all over the internets, all over everywhere, and I'm not really sure where to begin. We got so much going on. The Derrick Chauvin trial, as it relates to George Floyd's death, is now over with. I thought there was also some kind of tax evasion thing. Not really sure about that part, but as it relates to George Floyd, is now over with. He's been found guilty on all three charges, which included second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and I think second-degree manslaughter, if I'm not mistaken. All three charges, he's been found guilty. Now, I think that was a wrong decision, and I think what's going to happen is, not just because of that, there's a lot of different things that are going to account for what I'm going to say here, but I think you're going to have officers who say, you know what, y'all got it, just go ahead and back off. I'm going to talk more about that once we get into the show. Also, Makaya, not Ma'Khia, I was saying her name incorrectly in the last video, Makaya Bryant, was trying to stab somebody right in her head, and then they got shot to prevent them from stabbing the girl, and somehow that's wrong. So when we save a person from being stabbed, that's wrong because Black Lives Matter, although the person that was saved was black. We'll talk about both of those things and a lot more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again for joining me. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. If you enjoyed what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Share the video, like the video, do all that good stuff. And if you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. That'll help me out tremendously. We got a whole lot going on, a whole lot happening. I want to address one thing, one elephant in the room. Apparently, a lot of conservative channels have had this weird thing happen to some of their videos. Let me see if I can recreate it. They may have fixed it. I have a theory behind what's happening, but first of all, let me go ahead and pull it up. And again, like the video, please. I appreciate you if you did that. That'll help me out a whole lot. But the video I did today about Makaya Bryant, I'm going to talk about that video, of course. But brought to you by I think they fixed it because now I don't see it. But when I would go to the video, what it would do is give me some kind of screen that says, are you sure you want to proceed? Do you want to do this? Like a warning, like a trigger warning before you go to the video. I don't see it here on this one, so maybe they fixed it. And I was seeing it on my own video. So they were warning me about my own video. Like, do you want to watch this, sir? I know it's you. I know you recorded it, but are you sure you want to see it? So they did give me a warning about my own video, but I think that probably was an experiment. And you know what? Here's just my thought process behind it. You guys may see it if you try to go to that video about Makaya Bryant. You may see like a little trigger warning in the beginning. It'd be a black screen and it says, are you sure you want to proceed? This could be damaging, all this and that and the third, and you're not able to share it. The share features are gone on it, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, I think what they're doing is trying to find a way to monetize videos while at the same time giving a warning that there may be some violent content because the video is monetized. It's always been monetized throughout the entire thing. Okay, hold on. Slothy says you've gotten them halfway through like an ad. So halfway through the video, when you're watching it, you would get a warning like that. That's crazy. That is wild. Somebody says, why you sell out, bro? Hey, you can ask me that when I get to the calls a little bit later. Hey, call the show later at about 9 o'clock Eastern time. We got about 56 minutes. So call me then and ask me that question. I'll be more than glad to answer your question, whatever you get to ask. But that's crazy that you would get that halfway through like an ad. That's weird. But I've not seen that on a video where I just played it right away. But so I think what they're trying to do as far as that whole trigger warning thing is trying to find a way to monetize videos while at the same time saying this could be something that you really don't want to see. So because really, if YouTube can't monetize a video, they lose money as well. So they don't really care, or they may not care if a certain amount of traffic is lost on the video if they're able to make money on the entire video. Prime example, let's say a video gets 100,000 views, just a random number, 100,000 views, right? Normally, the interest of the video, if it's popular, if it's good content, good YouTuber, nice subscriber base, 100,000 views, right? But when they put that warning on it, it might get 70,000 views. But rather than having that whole 100,000 views not monetized, at least not by YouTube, because I can monetize videos without having ads on it, but that's a different story. Rather than them not getting any ads on the video because of the quote-unquote damaging content, they could put a trigger warning up there, reduce the traffic, but still get ads on 70% of the views. You see what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. So that could be what's going on, but I have no idea. As of right now, I don't see the little trigger warning on the video anymore, but it could be hitting in the middle of the video when you watch it, or it may just not be on my side because I already said that it's cool when I want to watch it. So it is what it is. All right. But that's what's going on with that. Now, speaking about, I'm gonna get straight to you know what? I'm not gonna start with Makaya Bryant. I'm gonna get to that after Derrick Chauvin because that's a really big one that I did live yesterday. And thank y'all for joining the stream yesterday. That was a pretty big stream. Had a lot of people in there. I think like between 10 to 15,000 people were in there live. A lot of people were in that stream. But I can't really say that I'm necessarily surprised at the verdict, but at the same time, I think that it was the wrong verdict. So like I was saying from the beginning, like I said in the previous video, they found Derrick Chauvin guilty on all charges, on all counts. I think there was second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. I'm not sure he found guilty of murder and manslaughter. How does that really work? I don't know. But anyway, he's found guilty on all charges. Now, my question would be, did they do that because the jurors are afraid of their, for their safety? They're afraid if they don't do what the general public on the left, these rabble-rousers, the Antifa, the BLM, are they afraid if they don't do what they want them to do that they will be in danger, that they'll be doxxed? Because you already had mainstream media outlets doing like little halfway doxing pieces on them. Oh, we don't know their names, but here's a bio about them. It's like, wait. And then one lady that wrote one of those articles was like head of safety for one of these online magazines, publications, newspapers, or whatever you want to call them. So you're the head of safety, yet you're putting out information about jurors so people that may know them can add 2 and 2 and figure out who they are. And then they could put information out there to the internet and dox them effectively that way. So maybe they say, you know what, rather than throwing my life away for this decision, which will not be supported by a lot of the other jurors, I'm going to just go ahead and say he did it and then kick the can down the road to the appellate court. He'll beat it in the appellate court because all that you really could get Derrick Chauvin on is possibly manslaughter, because they may say that he did not render aid in the appropriate amount of time, or that he held the knee for too long. That's all they can really say. They can't say that the knee was not lawful because it was trained by the Minneapolis Police Department. It was in the book. You could look at it. They changed it now, but you were able to go online and see the maneuver right there in the book. So you can't say that somehow the maneuver was incorrect, that it was wrong, that it was improper, because it was trained by the department. So all you can say is that Derrick Chauvin did not show George Floyd mercy. He did not render him medical aid in the appropriate amount of time. That's all you really can say. You can't say that he did something wrong. Okay? And you can't say that he went out there that day to try and hurt this man and try and kill this man. It wasn't any premeditation or anything like that. No malice aforethought in the situation. So the murder charges, it doesn't really make any sense. He'll beat it in the appellate court, in my humble opinion. So I think that was a strategy. Okay, go ahead and just, find him guilty. He'll be in jail for a little while this whole thing is happening, because he got remanded. There's no more bail. He got remanded, and he has like 8 weeks until the sentencing. So he's going to be in jail for bare minimum like a month and a half to 2 more months before the sentencing. And I think at that point he may go off. And I think that he still may be locked up. If he gets sentenced and goes to the penitentiary, I think he still may be in the penitentiary while the appeal's going on. Not sure how that's going to work. But regardless of what's going on, I think he'll beat that on the appeal. even the judge said it in court because of what Maxine Waters was saying, talking about we want the right decision. It can't be manslaughter. It's got to be murder. And we're going to be more confrontational. We're going to be in the street. We're going to do all this, that, and the third. She said it right there on camera. Okay, not just her, a lot of others. People like Ilhan Omar, who is in Minneapolis, has a lot of, a lot of power to her. Very well known in a Somali community and all over the city. Is saying that, hey, we got to get the right verdict. We can't have the wrong verdict. This has been said by a lot of people. Even Joe Biden himself, the president, allegedly said it. So everybody's saying it. Speaker of the House, everybody, they're saying the same thing, that the correct verdict will be guilty. Celebrities are saying it. They got little miniseries, docuseries, Netflix, TV shows, commercials, paper ads. They're all talking about how Derrick Chauvin did it. You got NHL hockey teams, NBA basketball teams talking about he did it. And, we got justice, all this, that, and the third. So there's so much going on as it relates to this case that the jurors, I feel like, had no choice but to go ahead and kick that can down the road and say, all right, appellate court, when things die down a little bit, when people forget about who George Floyd and Derrick Chauvin are, go ahead and turn that back over. He'll be free. He'll be home free. That's just what I think, but I could be wrong. But I really don't see a murder conviction sticking in this case because there was no malice aforethought. How are you going to charge an officer with murder who was out there doing his job by the book, literally? The only thing you really can say is that he did not show George Floyd compassion when he was suffering some kind of medical trauma. That's all you really can say. Now, I don't know if Derrick Chauvin is a doctor or EMT or nurse or anything like that. I'm not sure if you recognize when somebody's having distress, but that's really aside from the point. That's all you really could say is that he's having stress and he didn't do anything in a timely fashion to be able to save him. That's all you really could say. And I'm not really on board with that either. However, that's all they're really going to be able to get him on, and we'll see what happens in the appeals process. I just hope whatever happens that the correct decision is made. Let's not make a decision based on how we feel, based on, some other things that have been going on. All right. Now, I think I saw Greg Gutfeld on Fox say the quiet part out loud. He was like, hey, you know what? I'm glad that I'm glad that Derrick Chauvin got convicted because I think he is guilty. Maybe not of everything, but I'm glad he got convicted of everything because my neighborhood got looted before. I don't want it to happen again. So it was shocking to hear him say that, but at the same time, it wasn't because this is probably the way that people are feeling. Not everyone's feeling that way, but a lot are. If you live in Minneapolis and you have gone through this before and you may be a liberal, you have no reason to want the decision to be nuanced at all. You don't really care. You think that he should be in jail. You don't really care if the sentencing or the conviction is accurate. You don't care. You just want the whole thing to go away and to not have your city under siege anymore. That's the truth. Okay, let me see if I can find what Greg Gutfeld said so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. All right, give me 1 second. And thank y'all for being here yet again. You guys are the best audience on the internet. I see some of the comments, people saying bootlicking, whatever. I mean, if I'm lying, I'm flying, but you see I'm still right here in my chair. Ain't nothing but facts, all facts. I hang my hat on facts all day long. Okay, I'm going to play that one in a minute too. And I'm going to show you what the reward, I guess, for all this is, which is not really much. Oh, and I got to play that one too. I got a few videos I want to play that come after the whole situation. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find that Greg Gutfeld. That's probably the best one. And, here we go. And this is Greg Gutfeld talking about, yeah, man, I'm glad that he got convicted, even though he might not be guilty. It's fine. Let's go ahead and toss this clip on up.
And now I'm going to just get really selfish. I'm glad that he was found guilty on all charges.
Yeah.
Even if he might not be guilty of all charges. Oh, my God. I am glad that he is guilty of all charges because I want a verdict that keeps this country from going up in flames.
Oh,
my goodness.
No.
What do you mean?
Look, Greg, listen.
What do you mean? No, I'm at least being honest. My neighborhood was looted. I don't ever want to go through that again.
We do not sacrifice individuals for the sake
I'm saying
of
he's
how
guilty.
people
I'm
feel.
saying I'm glad about the verdict. And now I'm going to just get really selfish.
So he's saying it right there. He's saying the quiet part out loud. It was crazy to hear him say it, but at the same time, it's like, this is probably how a lot of people feel. They're like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I don't want to deal with looting anymore. If you're on the left, that's how people are feeling, especially 100%. Now, I don't think an innocent man should get sacrificed because you don't want your neighborhood to get looted. I mean, because it's not, it's not him that did anything, because that same thing could be used again. People can't just think this is a one-off type deal. Oh, it's just him. He did something. It was kind of questionable and so wet that it wasn't 100% correct as far as a decision. Okay, if you think that way, then that same sword of indifference shall be used on you. It should be the one that will behead you. Not literally, moderators from Google, figuratively. But I'll move on. Now, here's another video that you guys got to see. This is the end game. Because like I said before, people tell me all the time, it's like, hey, can we give them this? Can we give them that? Meaning the other side, the left. Can we give them this? Can we give them that? Can we compromise? Nah, because it's never going to be enough. If you give them an inch, they will take every mile from here to the sun. 93 million, trillion, billion, however many it is. All right, let's put this on the screen right quick. And this is a BLM, quote unquote, protester out there in Minneapolis.
We're never going to be satisfied. Black Lives Matter isn't a trend, it's a movement. Black Lives Matter forever, okay? So we're not going to stop just because we got one conviction. We're happy with the conviction, but we're going to keep going. We're going to go for Dante Wright. We're Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and so many unnamed faces out there that is just going, this is a black genocide. We're out here for more people, not just this one. This is more than one case. We're not satisfied.
So there it is, not satisfied. They want more and more and more. Didn't I say it? I've been saying the same thing for years. All you bootlicking, she's telling you right there what's going to happen. I've been saying the same thing for years now. They're never going to stop. That's why they call themselves progressive, because they progressively get worse. They progressively want more. It's like a virus. Okay, now here is Nancy Pelosi also saying the quiet part out loud. Like I just showed my video a little while ago. Maybe you didn't see it, maybe you did, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about that for a minute. Because I always say, Black Lives Matter, what is it really? A majority white organization founded by black women that happen to be of the LGBTQ, ABCDFG persuasion. If that's you, nothing against you. I'm just saying the organization leans heavily into LGBTQ, X, Y, and Z causes. They lean heavily into causes for women, whether they be homosexual or heterosexual. They lean heavily into causes of illegal aliens. They lean heavily into, social justice initiatives, regardless of what the color is. Like I said, especially LGBTQ. But when it comes to the heterosexual black male, meaning me, I'm a heterosexual black male, straight, super straight, right? A guy like me, I'm only good for them if I'm no longer here on earth. If my life is taken by a white man, especially, then I have value to them. George Floyd, heterosexual black man, yes. Had a girlfriend, yes. He dies, a white man's blamed, and after that, Black Lives Matter and other BLM-affiliated groups, not just one group, but several hundreds of groups probably, they raised $10.6 billion in 6 months. After George Floyd died, I'll say that one more again for the audience. After George Floyd died, they raised $10.6 billion with a B dollars in 6 months. So that's when you're good for them, black men, when you die and they could blame a white man. It doesn't matter if the white man did it. It doesn't matter if there's an actual conviction, because Derrick Chauvin is just now getting convicted. This is March. This is April. It's April 2021. And George Floyd died last year. They raised all that money last year. Not this year. They raised some this year, but not as much as they did right when the iron was hot. So here is Nancy Pelosi saying the quiet part out loud about George Floyd and anybody that's affiliated with this whole movement.
So again, thank you, George Floyd. for sacrificing your life for justice, for being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you, and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice. And now we have to make sure justice prevails in the sentencing. But that's, that's its own.
Saying it right there. Thanks for dying, sir. Really appreciate it. Helps out a lot. Helps the whole movement out a lot. Said it right there. And it's not like he's some kind of civil rights icon or figure. He's not like Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, where they're out there giving speeches and talks and touring the country and, being a part of the civil rights movement. That's not what George Floyd was. George Floyd just happened to pass away in a situation where a white man could be blamed. Whether he did it or not, that's not for me to make a decision, But that's what the situation was. And as a result of that, they're able to raise plenty of money. Maybe they were able to get certain things passed in politics as a result of that, banking off of that white guilt, the black guilt, the every color up under the rainbow guilt on the left, mobilizing the Antifa enforcement arm of the Democratic Party. That's what they're doing. Here's another white liberal, George Floyd's most recent girlfriend, if I'm not mistaken. And she's saying the same thing Nancy Pelosi said, basically, almost verbatim.
I love him with all my heart, and I'd do anything to have him standing next to me again today. But I know he gave his life so this could happen. And I know that he gave his life so that other people's cases can get reopened. We can re-examine the cases that were closed. We can get justice for people that deserve it. I love him.
I mean, they're saying it right there. They're saying it right there. And how does this guy feel right here? This black man feel right here? It's like, is he even listening? Is he paying attention? Like, what are you doing, sir? Are you security? Like, what is your purpose in being there? You don't hear what she's saying to you? That, hey, George Floyd, my boyfriend or whatever, former boyfriend, he died, and I thank her for dying, basically, because he's able to get other things done because he died. That's what she's saying right there. And how do you really take that, sir? She's saying it right in front of you. And this is a big part of the reason why I have left the left many years ago, because I would hear that a lot. And I knew that about BLM for years. I've been saying it for years. Some people would kind of push back, but it's like you can't push back when they say it straight to your face. They're telling you what's going on right away. Right away. So, yeah, that's what's happening with the whole Derrick Chauvin situation. People could say that it was too much. He did too much. He should go to jail. But see what's going to happen next is that you're going to have a bunch of cases that get heavily scrutinized, and you may have people that go to jail when they shouldn't go to jail. Then they're trying to remove qualified immunity. Basically what that means, I know the lawyers in the chat are going to get triggered. So if you guys can correct what I'm saying, if I say something wrong, let me know in the chat. But basically qualified immunity prevents an officer from being sued themselves from what they do out there in the field. Okay, not from going to the penitentiary, because we've seen officers get locked up. I'm talking about civil lawsuits. Prime example, George Floyd dies. Rather than George Floyd's family suing Derrick Chauvin, they sue what, the city of Minneapolis or the police department. They don't sue Derrick Chauvin himself. That's qualified immunity. So if you're open to getting civil lawsuits from people based upon what you do in your capacity as a police officer out there working for the state, I mean, why would you even want to be an officer? Because you can have frivolous lawsuits, things that are kind of ticky-tack, and you got to be going to court. How are you going to go to court and do all that stuff as an officer? You don't have no time for that. So rather than being an officer, I'll go work on cars. I'll go teach classes. I'll go move to a different country. I'll go do something else rather than risk having my life turned upside down because someone wants to sue me, whether it be valid or invalid. Now, like I said, that does not shield them from criminal action. If they do something that's illegal or something that's wrong, that's beyond their capacity as an agent of the state, then they can go to the penitentiary. Just like a situation with in South Carolina, Walter Scott. That officer is in jail right now, and rightfully so, because he violated the law. He went above and beyond in Call of Duty, did something he shouldn't have been doing. So qualified immunity is not that. That's not a thing. It's about civil lawsuits. And if I'm wrong, you guys let me know in the comments. Oh yeah, cops going to be quitting because what's the point? And, you know, my thing is, if you want to be an officer or if you are an officer, I'm not saying just go ahead and quit. I'm saying look around you and see what makes sense. That doesn't make sense to continue to be an officer where you live. If you're living in an area where you have urban inner city, it's kind of liberal. I mean, it's kind of dangerous for you. If you're out there in big country or you kind of, you know, off a little bit away from all that stuff, then you're pretty much straight. You're good to go. All right. You're not going to be worried about going and save somebody's life and then they're trying to crucify you. You're not going to have LeBron James talk about you're next. Did you guys see that? I put it up right quick. Hold on one second. Now, I'm going to get into the next one about Makaya Bryant and the officer that did everything right. He did nothing wrong at all. But because it's a police shooting that happened right around the same time that the Derrick Chauvin verdict was read, then somehow they said he was wrong, although he was not wrong. And let's go ahead and put this up. So this is a tweet that LeBron James put up but deleted, right? But by the time he deleted it, it had like 40-something thousand likes. LeBron James is a really big person on social media and in general. He's like this Jordan's equivalent. He's like this generation, pardon me. This generation is equivalent to Jordan. He's not Jordan skills-wise or as a person, in my opinion. He's a great basketball player. Don't get it twisted, LeBron James. But as a guy, as a man, I'm just not a fan. But he put this up. It's like a bounty poster, basically. And because you're going to have guys out there that don't see this as, okay, we're going to get him as far as the legal system. They're saying we're going to get him as far as out there in the street if they see him. And you're going to have guys that may look like him that are not even him that are going to be targets because you got a bunch of brainless people on the internets, all right? But he deleted that tweet after he got completely ratio in the comments. But Makaya Bryant, now, I can't play the video here because I don't want them to try to flag this one, but it's on my website. You can go to it. Link's always in the box, anthonyblogan.com. Matter of fact, let's put up a screenshot. They're not going to be able to flag a screenshot, I don't think, but we'll see. We'll test it. Now, I'll put it up in a minute. I'm going to just get to the whole story. So, an officer pulls up to a neighborhood, and you have two different scenes. One scene, you have this girl wearing like a pink outfit. It might be somebody right beside her. It might be two people right there, but they're pretty much sitting there calm, chilling. Now, the girl in the pink, you know, walks to the officer very calmly, and the officer's like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? But by the time he says that, the fight on the other side, on the right side of the officer's vision, the fight comes over to him. As he's going towards the sidewalk where the one girl is, leaning up against the car wearing the all pink, here goes some other girls and a man fighting. Now, one girl falls on the ground after she got pushed by the girl in question, Makaya Bryant, right? She falls on the ground, and apparently Makaya, at this point, has her knife and is trying to stab the girl on the ground. Officer breaks it up. You know, he's, you know, not trying to have that happen. And it looks like the man, I'm not sure who that was, might have been Makaya's father or somebody. I don't know who that was, but he kicked or tried to kick the girl that was on the ground. So you got a bunch of stuff happening. You got girls fighting girls, guys fighting girls. There's a whole lot happening. There's probably about 8 people out there in total right here in front of this house. But anyway, after the girl on the ground gets kicked or almost gets kicked in the head by this man, after Makaya maybe tries to stab her on the ground, Makaya then goes over to the girl in the pink outfit that greeted the officer from the beginning, right? She goes over to her, and mind you, the girl in the pink is not fighting. She's just standing there trying to talk to the officer, but not a threat. So she goes over to the girl in the pink, and then she takes the knife that she had in her hand and cocks it back like she about to go swing for the fence. I'm talking about Jose Canseco, Ken Griffey Jr., everybody's on steroids, HGH, all that, right? Matter of fact, here's the screenshot right here. So this is what I'm talking about. Here's Makaya in the black shirt and the blue jeans, and there's a girl right there in the pink. Now let's pause right here. People are saying that Makaya had the knife because she was acting in self-defense. Now, when you see this screenshot right here, and when you see the video for it, like I said, the video is in the description box. Go to my website, anthonyblogan.com. You see the article about this with that same type of screenshot. Click on that. It'll be right there in the article itself, in the body of the article. You can watch it. Now, in the video and in the screenshot, who appears to be the aggressor? Is it Makaya, the girl with the knife, with it back like she's about to go swing a discus, or the girl in the pink who's like cowering, trying to protect her face from getting stabbed in? Who's the aggressor here? Who is behaving in self-defense mode here? You tell me. So this knife goes from this position kind of behind her hips to like a 90-degree position, like she's Jason or Freddy Krueger, right? Trying to stab her. So the officer shoots Makaya, the girl right here with the black and the blue jeans on, 4 times to end the threat. And there's protests as a result of that. People are saying all kind of ridiculous things, talking about, oh, well, they could have used a taser, they could have used pepper spray. It's like, all right, if the knife is right here, I'm talking about, you see how close it is in my head? If the knife is like right there on my head, and now I'm the girl in the pink, I don't want you to use a thing that has a very low success rate, a very high failure rate in a taser. I did a video the other day. Remember that video I did of the officer that got shot after he tased the woman? And he had a taser right on her. I'm talking about on her skin. The taser on her skin. Tased her. She ate like it was nothing. She ate like it was nothing. The taser didn't work. He shot the taser one time. That didn't work. He put the taser on her. That didn't work. She grabbed her gun and shot him. The gun was in the purse somewhere. Shot the officer. Almost killed him. Right? The officer shot back. Hit her multiple times maybe. And she was still able to drive off for a while until she crashed, and then she died later. So shout out to Thomas Sotomayor. Them BT 25,000s, 2,500s, pardon me, are no joke. Them tasers will do nothing, especially when the knife is right here. It's not enough time. You got a split second, because all of what I mentioned, from the cop pulling up, trying to talk to the girl in the pink, the girl on the ground falling, the attempted first stab, the kick in the head or attempted kick in the head, and then the Freddy Krueger, Jason, that right there, that was about 5 seconds. You get that much time to see what's happening, see who's a threat, see who's, in danger. 5 seconds. You don't have time for a taser. You don't got time for pepper spray. Someone some, that ain't nothing but dessert. That ain't nothing but spicy food on a pizza for old girl. You need to end the threat. The officer saved the girl in the pink's life. And everybody was black in the whole situation. The girl in the pink was black, and so was the girl that was trying to stab her. So I don't really understand people that say that he shouldn't have done that. And then it's like, okay, shoot her in the leg. What? The leg? First of all, you don't train to shoot in the leg anyway. You train to shoot center mass, because this is the biggest part of your body. You see how close they are? Hold on, pull it back up. See how close they are? You can try to shoot her in the leg, and then you might end up shooting the girl that's cowering, trying to save her life, in her leg, or shooting her somewhere else, and she might bleed out and die. Or you might miss. And like I said, you got seconds, less than a second, to make a decision. If you miss, that could be the difference between life and death. If you miss shooting her and disabling her, then the knife can penetrate her head, and then it's a wrap. So trying to shoot a limb doesn't make any sense. The limbs can move, and they're kind of gangly. And the arm, that thing is swinging. You shoot right here, the biggest part of her body that you can hit without missing, to neutralize the threat, to end the threat. That's what you get trained to do, period. It ain't nothing else. This ain't Call of Duty. This ain't no video game. This is real life. And you got a fraction of a second to make a decision. You got to go ahead and shoot center mass. Talking about some, knife is in her hand, shoot her hand, shoot knife out her hand. That's not how this works. You can't just shoot her hand and the knife flies out. This ain't this ain't TV. People watch too much TV and don't understand anything about physics. But anyway, the correct thing to do would be to shoot Senator Masters what he did. All right. And the girl in the pink was not injured. And when he shot her and the girl fell, the knife fell on the ground, the girl in the pink scampered off to the right side of this frame and was straight. She was not injured at all. The officer saved her life, and the girl's black. So if it's about, we got to protect black women and Black Lives Matter, all this, that, and the third, then why does the officer not get credit for saving that black girl's life? What should he do in a situation if not shoot her? Use a method that's not going to work. So if he pops the taser and she eats that like it's nothing and continues to stab the girl to death, then what? Oh, the officer was negligent. He didn't do right. He didn't protect the girl. He was out there. Why do we have cops? He needs to get fired. I don't want to pay all my taxes for cops that don't do anything. So the end result of this, rather than being criticized for not acting quick enough, for using my gun when I'm supposed to, rather than doing that and having that situation be a thing, how about I don't show up? And this was an issue when I was a kid growing up in the 90s. Police never come. You call the police, they ain't going to come, or they take their sweet time coming. I wonder why. Why? What's the point of going to a place where you're not welcome, where you might mess around and lose your job or your life or your freedom for doing the job you're supposed to be doing that you were trained to do by the department? The mayor throw you under the bus. What's the point? How about I just stay out here and ride around? If, there's been some kind of shootout, some kind of gun battle, I'll get there about an hour later to clean up the bodies and have that be that. So what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have more innocent black people at risk. They're going to be left to the wolves. But it's fine, right? Because Black Lives Matter. And we cannot have these police shootings. It doesn't matter if the police shot somebody trying to stab somebody right in front of his face. I'm talking about like right here. The officer is right here. The girls are like right there. The picture that I'm showing you is from the officer's body cam. He's right there. He sees it. So he's directly 90-degree perpendicular. What do? Oh, I can't protect her. I can't save her life. I can't protect her. All right, check it out. How about I go over here to Dunkin' Donuts and get 2 dozen and bang them straight to the face while I sit in my squad car while that's going on? A big disturbance is where? Man, that's kind of a sketchy area. How about I stay over here, eat my donuts? We got a disturbance. Where? Nice area. Okay, I go over there. I'll tell Mr. Johnson hello and ask for some cookies from Miss Smith. I'll do that. And there probably won't be any disturbances up there in a nice area, but over here where they're at, that's probably not even uncommon, unfortunately. But it is what it is. The girl did die. Yes, the girl that got shot, she died. But the girl that was in the pink is totally fine, not injured at all, perfectly safe. So he saved the girl's life. There should be a thank you. And I thank the officer. Shout out to the officer for saving that girl's life, because if the officer wasn't there, then it would have been a wrap. Somebody would have died that day. That was not the stabber. All right. That's just so either way, it's like, all right, the stabber just was not trying to stop. That day, either the stabber was going to be, injured and killed themselves, or they were going to be injuring and killing somebody else, and then they were going to go to jail. So rather than having just one person that was a stabber, the actual villain in the situation, to take away, they would have had 1, maybe 2 people to take away, and then they're going to jail forever. Talking about some self-defense. That's not self-defense. If a person is just standing there, minding their own business and not a threat anymore, it doesn't matter what they were doing before. So let's say, for example, just to play into it, the girl in the pink was beating the girl in the black up before the cop came. Let's just say that happened. But when the cop came, they stopped fighting. You got to stop. You can't, after the cops come and they stop fighting, get a knife and then go try to stab her. You're going to jail for that. And if the officer is right there, he has to stop that. He can't just let you stab her. That don't make no sense. What if the body cam footage saw the officer just chilling, watching the girl get stabbed to death? He'd be in jail because now you're going against everything. You're going against your, I'm not sure about jail, but it definitely will be a problem. It might be jail, negligence or something, because you're there. Your job is to protect. Your job is to enforce codes, all that kind of good, and you're not doing it. So what are you really doing? Are you in on it? Are you aiding and abetting? But anyway, I digress. So yeah, the police shouldn't patrol. If I was an officer right now, I would just say, don't have me go to these ghettos. Don't have me go there. Send me to the nice area. Send me to patrol like arenas and things of that nature. Send me out there to the docks or something like that. Let me just patrol the waterways. I'll just go. I'd rather join the military. For real. As long as I'm not infantry, I'm good money. Let me join the military and do that rather than trying to be out here in the urban inner city, where it's probably even more dangerous sometimes in the military. Not all the time, obviously, but sometimes even more, because you're not going to have a situation in the military for the most part where you're getting your freedom taken away for doing your job the way it's supposed to be done. You see? Well, I'll move on. What else we got going on? We got quite a few things happening. And thank you for being here yet again. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Also, share the video, like the video, do all that good stuff. And what else we got going on? Oh, and this is a good segue into my next one, because you guys know I was gone on Saturday. And I'm sorry for not letting you guys know. I forgot. I had so much going on. I had my marriage ceremony on Saturday. And I should have said, hey, I'm not going to be here Saturday. And put some on my YouTube and my social media, but it was so much going on that day. It was crazy. And I saw all the comments on the picture I had on my community page. So thank y'all for that. We appreciate it. We've been married for a while now, but we did our ceremony because, they were kind of being funny last time with the mask and stuff like that. But I figured, okay, by April, it'll be less. And I figured this back in the summertime of last year. I was like, by April, it'll be less nonsense going on, and it was no mask or nothing like that. It was a good time. So I forgot this one topic to cover because I was not here Saturday, and that was the mayor of Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, which is right there by Minneapolis. He says you don't need guns all the time when you are in a traffic stop. Now, the guy is Liberian. He came to America when he was 11 years old as a refugee, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of like Ilhan Omar, right? She came from Somalia, went to Kenya in a refugee camp, and then went from there to America right around the same time or the same age that this guy did. I forget his name, the mayor of Brooklyn Center. But anyway, he said you don't always need your weapons when you pull someone over as an officer. But my thing is, how can you really say that if you don't have all the information? You can run somebody's name in the thing, but it might pop back that it's them, but you still don't know what they have in their car. They could have every gun in their name. They could have 80 guns in their car, 2 in their hand, ready to shoot. Everything locked and loaded. You don't know what they have until you get right up on them. So that was a whole crazy thing about that guy. But it's a lot of people like that don't really understand what's going on, that don't really have understanding, that don't really have knowledge. It just feel like they feel a certain way, and then they enact policy based upon how they feel and not reality. So that's not really a good thing to do. All right. I did see what LeBron said, Charlotte prolific. Yeah, that was crazy. LeBron talking about you're next as far as an officer. That was crazy. Oh, and I forgot about the Makaya Bryant situation. Did you guys see the mom come out and speak? Oh, and about Makaya, I almost forgot. Makaya, the girl that, had the knife and stabbing McStab. She was 15 or 16. Now, the family, quote unquote, said she was 16. But the police and the foster agency in Franklin County, which is Columbus, Ohio, they were saying she was 15. So who's right, who's wrong, I don't know. But anyway, they said she was 15 as far as the city officials, and she was in foster care. She was ward of the state, basically, And my thing is, okay, if the mother is here talking about Makaya, I just don't understand why she can't have custody. What's going on? Like, what's the actual issue here? I'm not here to judge someone's lifestyle because I don't know her lifestyle. But my question is, okay, you're talking about how good she is. Well, why don't you have custody? What's going on in your household? What's happening right there? I'd like to know that. I think that would let me know a little bit about why she was out there with a knife getting her stab on. You understand what I'm saying? And the mother had no tears. It's, you know, and it's really a shame. Like I said, I don't know this person from a can of paint, but it was really a shame to see the mom not cry at all. And I see that so many times where somebody dies, somebody gets shot or whatever, and then there's zero emotion from the mother. I'm talking about no tear or nothing. I just don't really understand that. It's like, let's get down to the bottom of why that was the case. But she was saying that the girl, Makaya, was a good girl, and matter of fact, here it is right here. And let's put it on the screen.
Makaya was named after a male prophet in the Bible. She was a very loving, peaceful little girl. She was 16 years old. She was an honor roll student. And Makaya had a motherly nature about her. She promoted peace. And that's something that I want to always be remembered.
So if she's promoting peace, why she's out there with a knife? Like, what's up with the knife? What's up with the fighting? What was the fight about? What was the knife about? Why is she not in your custody? What's going on? So many questions, so few answers. Why is the family saying that she was 16, but the police saying that she was 15? The foster care agency said she was 15. So why is that the case? Also, I'd like to know just everything that's going on with the whole situation. Did she have any kind of mental problems? Was she disabled some kind of way, developmentally? Honor roll student, but we know how that goes. That don't really mean too much. I mean, sometimes in some of these places. So I like to know all of what's happening here. That's what we got to get down to. Then I think we could figure out why this whole thing happened. But as of right now, this honor roll stuff, I'm not really trying to buy that. Promoting peace, I don't know about that. Some said, not me, but some said that sometimes any situations where somebody dies at the hand of the police, a little kid or a young person or even an adult, sometimes the parents come out and other family come out to try and get money. I don't know if that's true or false, but I wouldn't doubt it because we've seen other people that should not have gotten money that got money. How much did George Floyd get? Like, what, $30 million from the city or the state? So maybe they think, okay, if I go out here, I show my face, maybe I'll be able to get some of that money. People do some really crazy things when it comes to money. Really crazy things. You'd be surprised. You'll be surprised. So I don't know what that was all about, but it was weird. If the mother's out there speaking, why didn't she have custody? Makaya was ward of the state, so what's happening? At midnight basketball, they know the funniest thing about basketball, that never works. People talk about, oh, we need more gyms, rec centers. That's the silliest thing in the world. All we do is play basketball. We need to be focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic and not stabbing people when we get into arguments when we're 15 years old. You know, the whole age thing is irrelevant because, if you are 14 in Virginia, you can be charged as an adult at 14. So this whole thing about her being 14 years old, that's not really necessarily 14, 15, 16, however, it's not really important. She's out there with a knife, very dangerous, could have killed an adult doing that. So that's what's going on. Did I get everything? Pretty much. Yeah, but there's been a whole lot happening. We'll get to the calls in a few minutes here. Mostly peaceful knife. Exactly. All right, I'm going to read some of the chats, and then I'm going to get to the super chats. Let me see. Now, and I think the mother was biological mother because they had the same last name. So I don't really get it. It's just kind of weird. Although Ohio schools open, that's a good question. I don't really know if they are open. Some may be open, some may not be. That's a really good question. All right. The mom could be young because the girl was 15 or 16, so she could be pretty young. Probably had a baby at that age, but you never know. And just like the boy in what was that in Chicago, Baby Diablo, low homicide. Oh, he's 13 years old. Okay, well, why is he outside at 3:00 in the morning with a gun shooting at cars? Why is his nickname low homicide? Can we get down to the bottom of that? And you know what? A lot of times the kids are to blame, of course, but their parents. Like, what kind of parents do you have where your child is out at 3:00 in the morning doing whatever they want to do? Like, as a parent, what are you doing? Nothing? Just letting them do whatever? And the same thing with the girl that was out there with the knife. Where are the parents? Why is she not in the custody of her parents? Where is the dad at? That right there is the biggest problem with school systems and things of that nature and crime. Parents that don't care, kids that don't care, and they create an environment of not caring. And it just, and the beat goes on. You get the blind leading the blind. All right. So super chats on deck. I'm going to read those right quick, and then we're going to get into the calls. And if there's any trolls in the building, you got to call in, because if you don't call in, if you're a troll and you don't call in, then you scared and you're just a coward. And I'm going to just call you that. You know, rather than saying troll, I'm going to say scaredy cat from now on, because that's what you are if you don't want to call in after talking all big in the comments. All right, super chats on deck. Thank you to Apu Bakr, who says justice got served for George Floyd. Will there ever be justice for Justine Diamond, Ashley Babbitt, Tony Tempa? Will Seth Rich's case ever be solved? Those are good questions. As far as George Floyd, that whole thing was just to prevent riots and to prevent that was mob rule speaking, not justice speaking. You know, because how you going to say that it was second degree murder? I mean, come on, let's be for real. The anti-view says Governor Tim Tebow Walz in Minnesota fabricated youth sports numbers to show increases in COVID cases in long-term care facilities. I emailed you the document. Thank you for that. Abu Bakr has a few here, I'm going to read, who says, good Mr. Floyd got justice. Would it be justice for David Dorn, Patrick Underwood, Sequoia Turner, Italia Marie Kelly, Horace Lorenzo Jr., Barnell Trammell, Tamaris Bohannon, Harold Preston, and Cannon Hennett? I doubt it. Also, he says, ABL, we missed you on Saturday. How was a rally? I didn't go to the rally. I wound up not going. I had my wedding. We thought about going to the rally, but it just wasn't, the time wasn't really on our side. So, but I heard it was cool though. It was a Blexit rally here out in Chattanooga. I heard it was pretty cool, but we didn't get to go. And he also says, ABL, you were on your A game on the RT debate on BBC saying Luther's character was not black enough. Funny how white diversity HR nerds say who's black. Exactly. It's a weird thing. You know, this whole thing about you not being black enough. One thing that the moderator in the debate was saying is like, okay, once you have these positions and these jobs, you know, diversity director and things of that nature, you got to find a way to justify your position. So you can't just have that role and not have any problems. You got to create problems. Oh, this over here is not diversified enough. That over there, same way. So you're just trying to get your little monies, get your little salary to create problems that don't exist. When you see a good show, it's a good show regardless. You're not trying to pick it apart and say, oh, what if it had that? What if it had that? That's not how these things work. You like the show or you don't. That's it. You can critique it and that's fine, but like it or you don't. If it's a good show and it's very popular, what's the problem? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I digress. He also says, Breonna Taylor's mom, BLM don't even know me. Yeah. Breonna Taylor's mom said that the BLM in Louisville is a scam. A lot of moms and family members are coming out and saying the exact same thing. See, that's why they get with Ben Crump, because what Ben Crump does is he is a high-profile ambulance chaser whose purpose, in my humble opinion, is to cash out on the back end with civil lawsuits. He'll come in for free. It's like a funeral director. You understand what I'm saying? But that's a different story. He'll come in for free and sit down with you, talk to your family, and be like, okay, sister, I won't charge you anything right now, but we're going to get money. We're going to sue, and we're going to get money on the back. So don't worry about nothing. It'll be all right. Might take 30% on the back. And then he got all kind of deals and stuff like that. Speaking engagements, he's eating right now. So that's his whole wave. So rather than trying to rely upon BLM, their own little thing to break off some cheese, they'll get broken off by the civil lawsuit when they get hit off from the state. That's how the whole thing works, in my opinion. All right, let me see. The Anti-View says, Antifa Maxine Waters requested a police escort to Brooklyn Center to go protest police. There are documents to prove it. Yes, she did. Talking about, we got to get the right conviction. We have to get murder, the right conviction. Talking all that big stuff, talking about how much the police are X, Y, and Z, but you're going to get a police escort. That's how it always is. Do as I say, never as I do. People that are the biggest defund the police, anti-police, always got bodyguards with big guns, illegal guns. I'm talking about mini techs, whatever. I'm talking about military, for real military weapons in a coat pocket. But then they say to you, oh, do you want a 9mm semi-automatic handgun? Well, you got to get a tax stamp for that, or you might not be able to get it if you're going to ban it. It's so dumb, but I digress. Apu Bakr says, why BLM and Antifa never riot in Beverly Hills? That's a good question. Second, Loke says, would I ever collab with Thomas Sotomayor? Sure. Why not? Chicken's World says, that cop saw a man kick a woman in the face and still saved that lady from getting stabbed. That's great reaction time and awareness. There you go, because he could have reacted to that right there and tried to prevent that from happening. But that happened at the same time that the knife was coming up and get ready to stab the girl. So he picked the right thing. The girl will be able to survive getting a kick in the head. It might be damaging potentially how she gets kicked, but that stab wound, that might not go the same way. All right. Let me see. Thank you to Apu, who says, and Nancy Pelosi thanks George Floyd for his sacrifice. Our black folk just pawns for the white Marxist. Democrats never let crisis go to waste. Of course, that's what it is. Just pawns. And it gets kind of tiring hearing people talk about how bad the Republicans are. It's like, meanwhile, you ain't nothing but a hamster on the wheel. And every time you run toward some invisible kind of oppression, you just generate more revenue for the Democratic Party. You don't even care. I'm trying to say, get off the wheel, and you're trying to tell me that I'm wrong, and I'm all kind of racial slurs for saying get off the wheel. It's dumb. But those that have their eyes open are able to get off the wheel. And if you're going to get off the wheel, then you're all right in my book. If you stay on the wheel, that's fine. I'll throw some carrots in there, give you some little trinkets and snacks, but I'll move on. Thank you to Doug, who says, ABL, congrats to you and Nate on your wedding ceremony. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you to Chris, who says, thanks for being you. Thank you. Shout out to Chad, who says, hope you and the wife had a great time. It was a great time. Great wedding. Fantastic. No mask out there. Beautiful day, like 72. It was like the AC was on outside. It was great. Not too sunny, not too cloudy, just perfect. Shout out to Chad, who says, hope you already read that one. Thank you to Santo Bartez, who says, Democrats and mainstream news have done a good job of making people forget Andrew Cuomo killed 15,000 people. He's not the only governor with literal blood on their hands. Where is the accountability? Nowhere, because he's a Democrat. He could do whatever he wants. Thank you to Apple, who says, Candace on Tucker, Brandon Tatum on Laura, awesome. Alicia, thank you for your emoji donation. Thank you to Pinche, who says, LeBron's deleted tweet confirms the reason why we tell him to shut up and dribble. Exactly. 1,000%. You ain't never lied on that one, boss. All right, then what else we got? Thank you to Texas Sweet Tea, who says, congrats on the wedding ceremony. Look beautiful. I'm sure my invitation was lost in the mail, so I digress. Thank you. Thank you to Tyrants Bain TDUA, who says, police culture in this country needs to change, period. You can debate me about it, and I prove myself right. Chauvin deserved that verdict. All right, well, call in. It's fine. It is totally fine. Call in. I'm not sure what has to change, but we'll talk about that when you call in. Matter of fact, if you can hear my voice, just let me know your area code that you're going to call from, or if you're going to do Skype, let me know what your name is in there so I can know what's going on. Thank you to Champ Owens, who says, I live in Hawaii. What do you think about the recent cop that shot and killed a black man? Which one are you talking about? In Hawaii, I don't know nothing about that. Thank you to Tashrana, who says, my coworker said Pelosi is a bird that needs to be caged. There you go. Thank you to Byron8899, who says, do you recall Tony Temple, white man incident back in Texas back in 2019? He was out the same way George Floyd, but no outrage about him. Well, nah, I mean, if a white man dies, There's no outrage to be farmed. There's no outrage to be mined and grifted off of, so there won't be any outrage. Shout out to Dylan Z, who says, if you're that scared that you're willing to accept mob justice for your own safety, you better be exploring your options to live and work elsewhere. Well, I'm with you, man. Hey, but I see where they're coming from, too. Let me see. Champ Owen says, I'd like to hear what you think about the cop that was killed, that killed a black man in Hawaii. No justified, but I'd like to see a reaction to it. Thanks, ABL. Support from Hawaii. I'll check it out. I've not really seen that one at all, but I'll check it out. Thank you to DMAC, who says 13th Amendment is under the amendments that Biden says is not absolute. Exactly. Slavery being over, it's not absolute. You're going to bring that back? I hate where my foresight is taking me sometimes. I'm right there with you. We're like, two birds on the, whatever that thing, you know what I'm talking about. We're pretty much on the same page. Thank you to Master Prestige, who says, damn if you do, damn if you don't, stop policing black neighborhoods. Exactly. If you do stop, it's going to be a problem. If you don't stop, it's going to be a problem. Thank you to Shroom Chica, who says, LeBron just mad. He wish he was Jordan, but he's not. And what about LeBron's private armed security? Are they next? I don't think so. You're going to keep them. And also the gate around his house, the security, the fencing, the whole 9 yards, the alarm, all that. Thank you to Laura Catherine, who says, is it bad that I'm getting desensitized to the woke nonsense? Something new and crazy every day. What's a regular normally like me to do? And I'm kind of on the same page. Thank you for that. Thank you to Elaine for your thank you emoji. I think that's what it is. Thank you to FA Ranger Xbox, who says, Sir, I digress. 56 children have been shot this year alone, and only, hold on. 56 children have been shot this year alone and only in Philly. No. Now I thought cops needed. 6 years old shot in Philly. Search YouTube. I check it out. Thank you to Hydra, who says, why are most blacks, not all but most, so impulsive? I can't say most. I'm going to say that there's more impulsivity among blacks than others, but I can't say most blacks. I think that's unfair. It's just like saying, why are most blacks involved with crime? There's a higher rate of crime, yes, but I don't think it's most. Man, I'll be here not trying to answer that question, so I don't know. Thank you to Bridget Lorraine for the thumbs up emoji. Thank you to Hydrip, who says, I read that one. Thank you to Daniel Stabler, who says, I just saw a story about a lady who was supposedly a BLM supporter, adopted a white girl, then killed her. The lady's name is Ariel Robinson. She was on the show Worst Cooks in America. I saw that. That was crazy. It was totally ridiculous. People are getting radicalized by this stuff. Let me see. Laura says, ABL, do you think the woke mob's end game is to abolish the police and replace it with federal police like in communist dictatorships? Of course, 100%, because we've already seen it's already happened. It's already here. Look at D.C., occupied by the National Guard for how long? Forever? It's already here. So they're trying to do it in certain places, and they're trying to have that go nationwide, in my opinion, or in certain cities at least. Because what's going to happen if the police are not there anymore? They pretty much had the blue flu. What are you going to do? Bring in the guard. Tanks on the streets. We've already seen it. Tyrone says, Mayor Lightfoot says, police must ask for permission before pursuing suspect. Really? Doesn't make any sense. By the time you do all that, they done got away. Take it to Bitter Critter, who says he would have not gotten blowback if he had not shot her, but he would not have a target on his back the way he does now. He saved the other girl, but why does that matter? Or why does it not matter exactly? Take it to Elfriend, who says, I posted it in the last video. I'll post it again. I need you to sell the I Survived the Pandemic hoodies. Love the show. I got you on that. I'll make sure that happens. Thank you for that. And thank you to Mike from Queens, who says promoting peace. Thank you. Appreciate you, boss. And we got a few more here. Thank you to Lily, who says, shout out to the trolls for ABL's algorithm all day long. Because any troll that watches is a watcher, and it all counts positively. You can be in here talking about I'm every name up under the sun. That's fine. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you helping the algorithm, helping the channel grow. Even if you're not subscribing, even if you thumbs down in, even if you're saying something bad, it all helps. Matter of fact, it makes me look like I'm a legitimate channel more than, I obviously am, because every video is going to have some negative and some positive. So it's fine. Thank you to Oscar for the thank you emoji. Thank you to Louis from Spain, who says, Makaya sounds like, I I can't pronounce that one. Makaya. And and LeBron, thank you for giving a shout out to the police saying that we're going to be next to be saved by them. Thank you to Randall for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to WJ Valente who says, divide and conquer is the name of the game. I hope people can see and realize how they're being manipulated by the media. Turn off the TVs and think for yourself. Exactly. Thank you to the Dark Lord for the donation. Thank you to Brandy who says, shout out to the mods working hard to keep the chat trophy. Exactly. There you go. Thank you to, is this the way that life's meant to be? For the My Hero emoji, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Wendigo Smith who says, the young generation is growing up without TV. They hate it. Real justice is coming. All righty. So we got a lot happening. Thank y'all for being here. Let's get to the calls. If there's any trolls in the chat, anybody that disagrees or whatever, that's fine. I'm not hating. It's all good. It is all good. I welcome everybody, those that agree, disagree, or whatever, to call in. So let's go ahead and get this whole thing rocking and rolling. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let me go to get my sound together, and we're going to get that moving and grooving. So give me 1 second here, and we'll get straight to it. All right. And that shouldn't be doing that, but that's fine. Give me 1 second, and we're going to get her done. So let's go to sound. Oh, also, if you're in here and the video has not been liked yet by you, go ahead and do that. Like the video for me. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. And share the video with what helps me out, too. If you share it, that helps out a whole lot. So do all those good things that'll help me out a whole lot. All right. And also visit ablmerch.com. Quick commercial right quick. ablmerch.com. Get your I Survived the Pandemic hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and more. Hoodies next. I saw you on there, boss. Hoodies next on ablmerch.com. The link is in the box. You can also just type it in. ABL merch is easy to find. All right. So let's get this. Go ahead and get this rocking. All righty. All right, Skype caller. Who am I speaking to? It's you, boss. What's happening? All right, hold on 1 second. Let me see if I'm. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you well. What's happening?
Nothing much, man. I just wanted to call in and talk about that girl over there in Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that's ridiculous, man. You know, I sent in the super chat, damned if you do, damned if you don't, because growing up, all we ever heard and saw in comedy and all that was how if you call the police as a black person, you gotta act like a white person, or the police ain't gonna come. They don't care. They don't give a damn about you, whatever. And now, when they do respond, they do react. They do save your life. Now they got to be put on trial for that. And in my personal opinion, I believe we should just leave them to the dogs. Leave them to each other. Let them continue to kill each other and rob each other and rape each other and see how that turns out for them.
That's a good point. That's going to be the next thing, because what else can happen? If you're out there doing your job, saving lives, everything by the book, if you're doing that and you still getting a target on your back, you might go to jail, you might got to go to court. It's like, why? What's the point in doing this? If they don't want me here, all right, well, they got it, and then figure it out from there.
Right, man. I mean, honestly, I think it's ridiculous, especially we saw what happened with Derrick Chauvin, you know. I mean, people are saying, oh, this was to help stop the country from rioting or whatever. No, this was to promote evil, to promote the agenda that they've been trying to push forever, you know what I'm saying? But now it's more prevalent than we've ever seen. I mean, after what happened to Derrick Chauvin, I think that right there should have been enough for everybody to just go ahead, put the badge down, let the lawful citizens arm themselves the way they should, and protect yourself, watch your back, you know what's going on, stand up when you need to, Stop letting everybody push you around, because at this point they're gonna keep pushing. We keep giving them an inch, and by now they've taken 100 miles, man. We backed up to a cliff, and it's nothing we can do. If everybody don't start to stand up, everybody come in your chat with something to say, and then go about their daily life with their mouth shut, and they'll sit there and go to work and validate all the BS. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, when it come down to it, the people in the chat, the good people, I love y'all, but y'all are just as much a keyboard warriors as anybody else, unless you can stand up out there and say the same thing you say on YouTube out there in the real world. And if you don't, then they're gonna think it's okay. They know you afraid, and they're gonna keep coming for you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, ABL.
Hey, that was a great call. Great call. Start to show off with. That's right on it. You know, now I understand people got jobs and whatnot. I get it. But if you can, in any kind of way, say something, do it. I'm out there. I'm the same way I am right now, pretty much anywhere. So, you know, that's a really good call. Very good call. All right, let's get to some more here. All right, let's go. Can we do 219? You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
DTC, my good friend. Been a while since I chatted with you.
All right, man. What's happening?
Trick question in this day and age.
Right? Exactly. Everything's happening.
Pretty much. At this point, it's like pretty much a state of anarchy. And after with the supposed trial, which is more like a kangaroo court, as anyone would clearly can see it, well, you open up the floodgates. But then again, after seeing November 3rd and January 6th, I wouldn't be surprised anymore.
Well, yeah, nah, it's not surprising anymore. And I think what's going to end up happening is that people that are cheering this stuff on, I think that it was good that way, you know, the Derrick Chauvin case was out the way it was, and that Biden, quote unquote, won. I think once they realize what's going to happen, then they're going to start to change their tune. Then they're going to start to kind of go the other direction. Hopefully, it's not too late, because it might be when they got to get on the train and go somewhere they don't know they got to go, and then they get in the boot, crash on their head, and then it's like, well, now it's too late for me to do anything and realize what's happening.
Or seeing the guys in certain kind of uniforms with certain arm patches come marching down the street.
Exactly. I mean,
they already got glances at you.
They already got Antifa with their little designs and flags and whatnot. All they got to do, put it on their arm, and then you got it. It's right there.
Pretty much. It reminds me so much of, I don't know where this old joke video was about, like, how the two Germans talking to each other during World War II. One being like, Hans, are we the baddies? That old video. That's pretty much what reminded me of Antifa and BLM. Seriously.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Oh, we promote peace, love, and tolerance. While everything's on fire, burning, people running for their lives.
Right.
Yeah, how is that going?
Exactly.
But anyway, after the supposed, appease to the mob now, it's just opening up after the floodgates to all kinds of terrible things. Especially now, then you already got moving on to the next issue.
Yeah, it's always the next issue. It's always the next thing. It's never just one thing. So that's one thing people kind of get confused about. They think, oh, if we just do this one thing, this one, little thing to give them, and then that'll be enough. It'll never be enough. It's always going to be the next thing.
Pretty much. You already got, well, I think after you said it or some other YouTuber said it best, you already got ambulance chasers are chasing on the next big thing, like the Ohio event.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be next. So, like, really, and I see that kind of happening, which is why I try to get out in front of it and give the real information, because I try to be first and quick, because if we're not, then it gets out there to the world, and there's never there's not enough of a kickback initially to say, okay, this is not what it's supposed to be. And that's why I'm glad they put out that body camera footage immediately, so the whole narrative can be, it can kind of be dampened from the beginning.
And the whole thing, too, not just like edited or clipped at certain angles, like a certain Floyd event happened.
Right. Yeah, the whole thing all the way through, so you can see exactly what's going on in context.
Pretty much. I mean, like, not only did the guy after the cop save the girl in the pink tracksuit, but also save the woman that was getting her head kicked in, too.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, that's 2 for the price of 1, which is sad, but yet still.
Right.
But now with all this kind of BS that's going on, part of my French, at this point, hearing stories now is that you got cops by the hundreds or thousands are quitting on the job. I don't blame them anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to blame them because it's like, why go out there when your life is in danger and it's like you might lose your freedom? Why?
Very much like the first guy that did the call best described it, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
All right.
Pretty much. And if they keep pushing up with this idea, sooner or later, there's going to be no cops left, and there's going to probably be PSCs or PMCs, private security or military contractors. It's going to be the new law around these parts. If this keeps going.
And you know what? That's already a thing as far as private security. I think the squad, Ilhan Omar and all of them, they have their own private security. And in Minneapolis, the city council voted to defund the police, and then they hired their own security using city money to do it. So it's like, okay, the people can't have police, but you can have your own police. That's going to be the next thing.
Don't forget Maxine Waters.
Yeah, Maxine. She got the police escort to Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, to go out there and protest, while at the same time talking about defund the police.
Oh, and the mayor of Chicago too. She had after probably maybe half of the police force protecting her property in Chicago.
Yeah, yep, sure did. It was like a whole army, a little army out there in front of her property. So it's like, what are we really doing?
Trying to revert everything to like a combination of between the Wild West and the stereotype of the medieval times, where you got the dukes and the lords and the baronesses and the kings and queens and the peasants living in the mud hut.
Right, pretty much.
Oh, but you still get some free money and get some free toys out of all of this. But I don't want to waste any more time, and you probably want to get other callers out, so I'm going to leave you guys to it. But I'll say one thing, congratulations on the whole wedding/anniversary thing and getting a proper one without the stupid mask.
Yes, right on, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Keep it up, man. Cheers.
All right, now, same to you. All righty, let's get to some more calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Unknown caller on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, my name's Otto, and I would just like to say that I am a BLM supporter, and I would like to talk to you about the case of the Columbus girl, the one who got fatally shot.
Okay,
cool. I agree with you that when the knife was in the air, that he should have shot. However, the part that I'm pissed off about, and what we're pissed off about, is that he shot an additional shot as she was going down to the ground. That shot was not necessary, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure, because the thing about it is we can kind of be like Monday morning quarterback and then go, well, there should have been 3 shots rather than 4 shots. But at the end of it, it would have been the same result, because the whole thing, when you're trained as an officer, I'm not in police or military. This is just what I know from, talking to people that have been trained. You're trained to end the threat. So when you think the threat is over and the person that you're trying to protect or whatever is safe and secure, that's just what it is. I think the 3 versus 4 argument is not really important. I think the main thing is that the threat was ended, which was the girl that was about to get stabbed.
Well, the threat was ended when she was already going down to the ground. And as she was falling down to the ground, the cop shot an additional shot that was not necessary, in my opinion. But, what do you think? Do you think the last shot was really necessary? Because, she was already going down.
It doesn't really make a difference at the end of the day, because it would be the same result. You already got shot 3 times, and you're going to survive, really, for the most part. The 4th shot didn't make a difference. The main thing is it's happening so quick. Like, from the moment he got to the scene and then she was shot, you're talking about 5 seconds, right around that. It was very, very quick. He's like, okay, what's going on? What's happening? And then it's a fight here, it's a fight there, it's a stab, it's a knife here swinging in the air. So you have a very short period of time to be able to react. and you got your hand on your trigger, you just shoot, boom, 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 and that's it. And when you're in that moment, when you're shooting, things are just going differently in your body. You got adrenaline pumping and everything else, and you got to be cool and you got to be accurate. So I don't think it's really necessarily to even have that talk about the extra bullet, because that's not really the point. The point is that he shot to end the threat, and the threat was ended, and then the girl's life was saved.
Okay, I guess we disagree on that part, on the last shot. But I would like to talk to you about one more last thing, and then I'll go ahead and end this.
Okay.
I know you got more callers on the line. I would like to talk to you about the legalization of drugs in terms of reducing gang violence, because what I would like to see being done in policing communities is where we could have more options to go to the police, like more kinds of people. Like if your cocaine gets stolen, you could go to the police and they could help you get your cocaine back, or you could press charges on that person. Similarly, like to your bicycle getting stolen. And in a way, like right now, if somebody steals your drugs, you can't go to the police. So right now, gangs are kind of needed to get your drugs back. But I feel like if we were to make it possible for you to get your drugs back by means of government help, meaning you take that person to court and you file charges against them, then I feel like we could have a reduce in gang violence. What do you think?
I'm not sure how that works. So I guess you're saying, like, if you have like a whole bunch of drugs on you, like if you got like, I don't know, like 100 pounds of cocaine or something like that, is that what you're talking about? Like a big quantity?
No, I'm talking about like somebody who's regular using it. Like I'm not saying it should be legal to drive while high. I'm saying that we should try to reduce, like we should legalize drugs in a way where people like George Floyd, instead of arresting him, will get them to seek help, like to get them to seek treatment. Like drugs will be legal, but if you're caught with them, instead of going to jail, you'll go to a rehabilitation center.
Okay, so now we're saying two different things. So let's talk about the first thing first, then the second thing. So the first thing was, if your drugs are stolen, you can go to the police and get them back, right? So like personal use drugs, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, personal use.
But I mean, you're not gonna call the police if your cigarettes get stolen or if your bottle of alcohol gets stolen. So why would you call for drugs? I don't understand. Like the most you're gonna be able to do with that is like a petty claims. Like you be going on Judge Joe Brown for something like that, because how much your drugs cost? Like if you got a personal use in your pocket, you're talking about like $5, $10. You're not gonna be able to call the police for that. But to get to your next point about, rather than going to the penitentiary or jail, if you get caught with drugs, then you go to a rehab center. You got to understand, to a drug addict, it's the same thing. There's no difference, because you're going somewhere involuntarily against your will. So what's the difference? It's the same thing. So either way, it'd be a punitive measure because of the illegality of drugs. But rather than going over here, you go over there. But it's the same thing to a drug addict.
Okay, your second point was really good. Your first point, however, I feel like if somebody does steal your drugs and things were legal and the cops were to be able to help you get your drugs back or the money back for your drugs, I feel like more people would go to the police rather than resort to gang violence. But
check it out though. If you have personal use on you, how much does that really cost? Like you won't call the cops for a pack of cigarettes or alcohol. So I don't understand why you would be able to call for other drugs. It doesn't make any sense. Now, what you're talking about going to the police for would be like if you had a big quantity or something, like if you're like a business, we're talking about grand larceny, but we got to still operate within the laws. You wouldn't create new laws just for small amounts of drugs. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The gang violence is not from small amounts of drugs, from personal use. The gang violence is because you have people that are out there engaging in criminal activity. It could be drugs, human trafficking, like prostitution, sex slavery. You got like the cartels, these guys will sell anything. These guys are stealing raw oil from the pipeline and selling that on the black market, petroleum. So there's a lot that these cartels do aside from guns, obviously, is a big thing they do. There's a lot of things that these guys will steal, buy, sell, contract killing. The drugs is just one part of it. But the personal amount is not what they dabble in when you're talking about gang violence.
Okay, that's a good point. Can I ask you one more question, or do you have other callers on the line?
Go ahead. One more question. Go ahead.
All right. I noticed that you didn't make a video about Adam Toledo. Neither did the conservative twins. I was curious on your point of view on Adam Toledo. Like, I'm not sure if you know who he is.
Yeah, I didn't make a video about him specifically, but I spoke about him in another video. I just think that, you know, you got these young kids that are out there, no parents anywhere in sight, and they out here doing things they shouldn't be doing. You know, he had a gun on him. You know, the police, the way that it was framed in the media was that he was out there just running around. He didn't do anything. He was unarmed and he got shot, but he had a gun on him, and they were called out there because he had like shot at a car allegedly. So when they played the video, it was a split second from the time he had the gun in his hand and the police saw it to the time where his hands were up. Like a literal split second. So he was armed, and the police shot because he was armed. The freeze frame does not tell the full story. So it's unfortunate that he had to get shot, but you know, when you're out there living that life, that is a risk people take, and they take that risk.
Okay, that's a very good point. And I would like to mention that I am Hispanic and I'm also BLM. But the thing is that I feel like where the cop messed up was that he should have had the kid facing the wall and then put his hands on the wall and then turned around. All the cop said was put your effing hands up, and he didn't really give him any directions what to do with his upper body. He just told him to put his hands up. But he should have told him to put his hands on the wall and then turn around, or put his hands on the wall and then go in and arrest him.
Well, I think the main thing was if he wouldn't have been out there 3 o'clock in the morning with a gun running around in the alley shooting at cars, then he wouldn't have been in a situation to begin with. Like I say, when you out there living that kind of life, you understand what comes with it. So if it wasn't the police that got him, it would have been somebody else that got him. That's just the unfortunate reality of the whole situation. But thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, ABL. Peace.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. But yeah, man, you out there living that life, you know what comes with it. You know that you might get caught slipping, as the cool kids say. You might get caught lacking, as they say. And you might not be here no more. That's just what happens. All right, let's get to some more. I call you online. I'm speaking to 617.
Hey, Anthony, congratulations on your wedding, man.
Thank you.
Hey, why you, Brandon Tatum, and what's the other word? Candy, someone got to keep selling the idea that the Chauvin, the police officer that killed George Floyd, is innocent.
Well, I don't think that they did. I don't think he did what they charged him of doing. I don't think that the charges.
Second degree murder. Second degree murder.
So why is second degree murder?
Well, you put somebody's knee on somebody's neck, you could kill him. I'm pretty sure he's trained for that. That's why they banned the shockholds. So he knew what he was doing. This guy was no innocent. He'd been in the force for a while. He knew what he was doing. If the situation was under control, he was with handcuffs. Come on, stop selling this idea. I don't believe that all cops are not bad, but I believe that police departments are very corrupt in America. Not all of them, but especially major cities, they're extremely corrupt. I mean, you've been around the block for a while, you've seen case after case after case of situations where it hasn't been unjustified for them to use excessive force. And they've been killing people. No, not in every case, of course, no. Like the one that lady, the 16-year-old, 14-year-old, I mean, they didn't have no choice. The other guy that ran into the car, they had no choice. They had to shoot him. And
okay, the thing about it is
she was going to put it.
Okay, the thing about it is that the knee maneuver was trained by the department.
But not to put it in there, and especially when.
You said what now? You said what?
If the
hold on, sir. Before you go forward, you said what now? Not to do what with it?
If the suspect is
no, sir. Let's not move on. Let's not move on. Ask you a question. What did you say from the very beginning? So not to do what with it?
What do you mean? What I said? What?
At the very beginning, when I said that the knee maneuver was a trained maneuver by the department, and you said something, what was your response initially?
Well, he had it on handcuffs. Why you want to?
No. But the maneuver was trained by the department. Period. That's what he was doing. The maneuver that was trained to him by the department. So why was it wrong to do if he was trained to do that by the department?
If his things are not under control.
What?
So that means he's gonna put a knee on somebody that is on handcuffs, that is no moving?
It don't matter. Like the department trained that maneuver. That's just what it was. So you can't say that the maneuver, sir, I'm talking, sir. You can't say the maneuver was wrong if he was trained to do it by the department.
In what situation the maneuver was supposed to execute that maneuver? In what kind of situation? In that situation, when he wasn't even moving.
Well, he wasn't moving because he wasn't moving.
You have two other cops.
He wasn't moving because, sir, he wasn't moving because.
Cops. He could have called for backup. He could have.
All right, check it out. You go on and let me answer the question tonight. Now the thing is a maneuver, sir? I'm not done, sir. Quiet. The question is, was the maneuver right or wrong?
It was wrong. It was applied.
So if it was wrong, then why did the police department train him to do it?
Anthony, you have
either it's right or it's wrong.
They have to be trained to do that.
A situation
that's
like
what that's what they banned chokeholds. So that's what the reason that they banned the chokehold.
Now the question is, since it was trained by the department, do you know when they can and can't do it? Do you know that right now? Yes or no question?
I don't know right now. But
if you don't know, sir, no. You're gonna be quiet. You're muted and nobody can hear you. So no, the question is, since you don't know when they can use it and when they can't use it, how can you say that it's wrong to use? You think it might be, you think it looks bad, but you don't know if it's wrong or right. So how can you say that the sentencing, well, not the sentencing, but the judgment, second-degree murder, how can you say that's correct if you don't know when the maneuver should be used and when it shouldn't be used?
You don't make sense.
But see, the whole time you're talking, and nobody can hear you at all. So are you ready to answer the question or no?
But I'm going to give you another example because you don't make any sense. So the police officer only can use the weapon when the life is in danger. So that means if somebody's running, the police, the cop has the right to shoot them from the back because they've been trained how to shoot.
That's not the same thing. Shooting somebody because the knee is not actually shooting somebody. George Floyd didn't get shot.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
So there's no training manual that says shoot somebody in the back as a police maneuver. There's no thing that says, hey, here's a maneuver to gain control. Shoot somebody in the back while they're far away from you from 1,000 yards or something crazy like that. What is or at least was where they removed it after the George Floyd situation. What was in the police manual in Minneapolis was the knee on the neck maneuver for ground control. That's just a fact.
But in what situation was for ground control? When he was moving, when he was fighting, you have two officers.
It's in the manual. So if you don't know when it can be used and when it can't be used, and I've not seen any distinction about that from what I've read, but if you don't know when it can be used and when it can't be used, what you got to do is do your research and figure out, rather than saying that the maneuver was wrong, he was wrong for using it when you don't even know that. You just said it, you don't know. You said that you accepted it was there, but you don't know when it can and can't be used. Therefore, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just making assumptions.
No, I'm not making an assumption. I'm making an assumption because it wasn't.
All right, exactly. So you just assuming. So you just
can use force when
this is all your opinion.
He wasn't resisting arrest.
This is all your opinion.
You only can use force when it's resisting arrest. He was resisting arrest.
So he used force.
I'm asking you a question. He was resisting.
Yes, he was resisting.
Was resisting on the ground?
Well, he got on the ground because he was resisting.
I wasn't. He wasn't resisting. So you use deadly force. Only deadly force can be used by guns.
How is deadly force?
Dude, you put the guys on the guy's neck. You put your knee in the neck for 9 minutes.
That's not deadly force. The maneuver is not deadly force. There are things you can do as an officer that are deadly force, like, using your gun. But the knee maneuver is not deadly force.
It is
now, he died, but that doesn't mean that the knee was deadly force. You could die from a lot of different things. That don't mean that what was used was deadly force. Because you can actually strike and punch and do things like that to gain control. But if you punch somebody and they die, that's not deadly force. It's just they happen to die.
Oh, yeah, I put me on hold. Now you put me on hold.
All right, so have a nice day because you're not listening. But yeah, that's not the maneuver was not deadly force. It's just he just happened to die. Now, was it because it was the maneuver? I can't tell. I can't call that one. 804, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Michael. I'm watching your show, and I was just trying to call in. I thought I'd give it a shot.
You're live right now, boss. What's going on?
Oh, hey, yeah, ABL. I love your show, man. I would say long-time listener, first-time caller. I just wanted to get your opinion. I appreciate that you're doing this, by the way. I was watching the news, obviously, and the girl in Columbus. I guess the issue I have with this, I support the officer. I think that it's tragic what happened, but I guess the problem that I have is really around the kind of lack of dialogue. I think that court of public opinion today is out of control. I'm glad that the police office released the footage immediately, and I thought the footage really spoke for itself. I mean, you got a number of elements there. You've got an officer that arrives on the scene. There's multiple officers arriving on the scene. Their presence is known. Everyone sees them. They say, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" Followed by, "Get down, get down, get down." All of that happened, like you say, in the span of 5 seconds. But these individuals that were at the scene, they're involved in a I wouldn't call it a fist fight because someone's kicking some girl in the head.
Right.
But there's physical assault taking place in front of the officers. And then this poor girl, unfortunately, then doubles back, pulls out a knife, and tries to stab another girl, all in the presence of law enforcement. At what point are these officers allowed to start policing in the court of public opinion? And at what point are we as citizens supposed to start complying with the law? This is just what baffled me when I was watching this. I'm seeing it, and I'm like, this is pretty cut and dry. I will give it a minute to kind of hear everybody else's opinion, but at what point, what were these folks thinking, especially the gentleman? And I don't think anybody's talked about the fact that the gentleman in the video, punted that poor girl's head on the ground like a football, and no one's talking about the kind of assault charges that should be brought up on him while staring a police officer in the face, no doubt. So I just maybe wanted to get your opinion about, when are police allowed to start policing in the era of the court of public opinion?
Never. Really, honestly, that's the honest answer, because I mean, like, if I was an officer right now, or I wouldn't want to be in the urban inner city area where that kind of stuff can happen. I like to be out in the country somewhere, or county police. I want to go out and police cows and horses and things of that nature, rather than trying to break up stuff like that, because the officer did everything right. He did everything right. He came up there. He was not charged up coming up there. He was not aggressive coming to the scene. He was real cool, laid back, like, hey, what's happening? What's going on? And he saved the girl's life. So it's like, I don't understand what else he could have done. I think it's because of the climate right now that people, anytime something like that happens where, somebody gets killed, they want to just, look into it like the kind of Monday morning quarterback, super lawyers, and they don't know what's going on. So as of right now, I think I would just kind of back up a little bit from an urban inner city area and not put myself in harm's way. Maybe when things kind of die down a little bit, I would go back if I had a passion for it. But for right now, I would kind of ease up.
That's interesting. I feel like I'm the same, and I'll tell you this: I'm living in an area where I feel like the sentiment surrounding police is extremely positive. I live in a relatively diverse area, but the consensus is that we all really like and appreciate law enforcement. We don't really have these, unfortunate aggressive policing issues that you start to see. Of course, those are the stories that sift to the top, right? I joke with my wife and say, the fact that we woke up, went to work, had an honest day, tucked our kids in and went to bed, that's never going to make the news. But that's what 99% of the country does every day. It's just the vocal outliers. So exactly. I hope that stuff like this doesn't continue to happen. These kind of typical unfortunate policing events that just make it into the court of public opinion the second that they occur, and then boom, a building gets burned down. It's like the threat. It's like kind of I feel like there's been sort of like the public's called the police bluff. It's at a certain point during the George Floyd protests, everybody realized, well, there's 10,000 of us and there's 60 cops. We can go burn a building down and nothing's going to happen. So now we're just going to do this every time something we disagree with takes place. And it's like, it's scary, but I don't know. I don't necessarily live in an area that has really succumbed to that, but I just cannot help but follow any of these stories that happen and think, why on earth would I bother being a police officer? And it's like, what a horribly thankless and dangerous job it is right now. I don't know what to do to try to support law enforcement, but they're the first people I'm calling if I'm in trouble. I mean, what does everybody else expect?
Right. I mean, I'm right there with you, 100%.
Awesome. Well, hey man, I'm gonna let you get to somebody else. I'm psyched that you took my call, and thanks so much. Have a good one. All right.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Great call. Excellent call. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same place right now. Like where I live is real quiet. People love the police. It's all good. It's no problems. You know, it's not even like that. Matter of fact, when I first moved out here, I was okay. I came out here and I went out to the trash can, locked the door behind me. So now I'm locked out of my house. And I'm like, man, okay, I'm locked out. You know, I don't have no way. I don't have no extra key nowhere. So I had walked down the street to the hospital because I figured it'd be a cop right there or something, and then they could help me get to where I got to go. I didn't have my phone number, and I was nothing, no phone, no keys, no nothing. So I went down there, and I talked to the cop. I'm like, hey, man, lock myself out. What can I do? They gave me a number to the locksmith. I was able to use their phone in the hospital, no charge. Called the locksmith, set it up, and then the cop drove me back home with the canine in the back and everything, and was like, hey, man, do I need to stay out here for a while with you? Everything's good? It was no problem. So this whole thing about, you know, the police being terrible, the police being bad, and they're not there for you, it's just not reality. Like I say, that's why I got that flag right there, the blue line and the red line. Public safety, I never had no problems. But then again, I'm not some type of, you know, some gangbanger. I'm not a dope fiend. I'm not any crazy thing like that. I don't live a dangerous, unlawful lifestyle. I live just like a normie. I'm super normie. I don't have these problems with police. Now, I'm not saying that police are perfect because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. So an officer can't be perfect. But this whole thing about it being some kind of epidemic of problems is just not the reality. I've had many more positive police interactions than I've ever had anything negative. I never had anything negative. And I'm from these areas. I know guys that had problems that I don't have. Let's get to the next one. All right, Tariq, what's happening?
Hey, not much, man. You know, I just feel like some of our people just want to be upset, bro. You know, they just want to be stuck on white people, don't want to focus on themselves because there's no way you can look at this case. And where did this take place? In Ohio, where the girl got shot?
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
There's no logical way that you can look at this case and get mad at the cop and talk about racism. You know, because it's like, bro, that the man was barely on the scene, bro. It was chaotic when he arrived. I saw a young girl on the ground get kicked in the face by a grown man. Okay, that's chaotic scene number one. Then you look up and you see a girl with a knife charging at another girl. You're like, stand down. She ain't listening. You don't know if that girl's gonna kill the girl, the other girl. So he shot her. I mean, I don't know how else it is. Now, I heard that she was the one who called the police. Well, dang, if she was the one that called the police are there. Why are you still charging this chick with a knife? You know, and the thing is, this is the problem I have, bro. Because black folks, man, we like to talk about, you know, white people policing and how bad it is, how we're just these good people and, you know, white folks are messing with us. So there were black adults out there. There were black men out there. Why didn't they break up the fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are two young girls fighting. Where were the black? What they did? So I mean, they're showing up. So you sat there and you called a white man to do something that you couldn't do, and they didn't want to cry about white supremacy. Like, that would piss me off. My thing is, if you guys believe that there's so much white supremacy, then learn how to handle conflict yourself. If you see a problem, handle conflict yourself. You know, just like how white people in the neighborhoods, they handle conflict. Why don't black men do the same thing? Instead of calling the police, begging these white people to love you, and then getting mad when something happens, when you're not de-escalating. So yeah, bro, this is a closed case to me, but you know, you never know with these liberals, man. And really, man, black people are kind of torn. But to be honest, I think our community is very controlled by white liberals. So it only takes CNN and the celebrities and a whole bunch of white liberals talking about it to get black people really upset about this. And I believe it's going that way. You know, LeBron James, bro, he is an embarrassment to black men. I also think he's an embarrassment to his son. Because how can you be a man with that much power, with that much money? You're like 6 foot with a whole lot of muscles, and you go into the world telling everybody how hard it is to be a black man and why you're so scared. And you're raising 2 black boys. Like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, what type of role model are you to your boys? Are you trying to raise your boys to be soft? You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron James, bro. Well, but see, bro, that's what liberals do, bro. They put these celebrities in front of us who they know don't know anything about politics, who are very uneducated, and they disrespect the black community that much that they're like, these people are going to be your spokesperson. So when we have some heavy topics, heavy political topics, we're going to ask LeBron James. We're going to ask Snoop Dogg. We're going to ask Cardi B. We're not going to go to ABL and ask them nothing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Anytime not even Ice Cube, anytime an African American has any bit of sense in them, any bit of independent intellect, bro, they're never going to get questioned, bro. You know, because you're the type of person who has the intellect to destroy narratives and wake people up. But you got idiots like LeBron James, who is not independent, who gets paid by white liberals. You know, you can talk about white supremacy all you want, but you are eating off their money. So, like, bro, like, stop it. But yeah, man, this whole thing is crazy, bro. And then with the Derrick Chauvin trial, bro, the issue I have with that is I don't like this mob justice, bro. I do feel like the jury was scared, bro. You know, their information being doxxed, bro, and you know, possibly just coming up with a guilty verdict just to keep the peace, and that's a dangerous precedent, man. And then there's one last thing, and I'm done, man. Maxine Waters in her statement, what angers me is not that she made a statement, is I'm not seeing where is the Republican response? Where is Mitt Romney, bro? Where is Mitt Romney? Because wasn't this clown the main one saying that Trump's words caused the protests at the White House? Where are all these never Trumpers jumping down Maxine Waters? Why won't the Republicans come together and say, you know what? You guys created this precedent where we can't say anything that may call for violence. So now we're going to hold Maxine Waters accountable. They're nowhere to be found, bro, because we know if any Republican, especially if they supported Trump, have made a statement like that, the one thing liberals do that conservatives don't do is they come together and they destroy you. Conservatives, they just, like, not conservatives are on the ground like you, but the ones in power, they ain't gonna do nothing, bro. And that's the problem I have, man. And that's all I gotta say, man.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Great call. And that's a great point about Mitt Romney and all those guys. Like, okay, you want to talk about January 6th and how Trump incited the insurrection, all this, that, and the third. Well, here's Maxine Waters doing much worse than what Trump did, but where are you at? Well, where's your voice at when it comes to Maxine Waters? It's like, what's really going on? That's a really good point. All righty, let's go 601, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
It's Justice. Hold on.
All right, we're live on the air, man. What's going on?
Hey, I'm good. I'm finna go outside real quick. Hey, how you been?
Everything's been all right, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. Hey, I just had to. Can you hear me clear? Last time I called, people said they couldn't hear me clearly.
I can hear you well.
Okay. Now I had to get on here because what you and I were talking about, I had to debunk what you said because you and I'm really mad at Brandon Tatum because he was a police officer. I don't think you're doing it intentionally, but you're telling half truths.
Okay, so what did I get?
Was actually right.
So go ahead. So what did I get that was wrong?
Okay. So, no, what you said wasn't wrong. It just wasn't fully true. So I looked at my own handbook and looked at theirs, and Ivan was right. We are told to use the knee maneuver under certain I'm getting tongue twisted. Under certain circumstances.
Wait. So are you're in Minneapolis?
No. I'm going by my police force and theirs.
So if you're going by your book, then how does it relate to Minneapolis?
No, and theirs. I'm going by mine and theirs.
So do you have the updated version or the old one that they had before they changed it after George Floyd died?
It's from 2000. It hasn't been updated since, what was it, 2018?
No, it was updated after George Floyd died. Guarantee you, because you can't find.
No. I mean, no. Prior to him, it hasn't been updated since. Where is it? Yeah.
No, but okay.
October 8th, 2018.
The question is, do you have the one that was updated after George Floyd or before George Floyd?
Before.
Okay. So what does it say?
So, all right. So you can use the knee maneuver to have to get somebody restrained.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it. All right. So at the time, George Floyd was already restrained. At that point, when he's in the prone position and already handcuffs, you should immediately get that subject off of the prone position for hyperventilation or any other things that can help that could cut his breathing. And with his knee on his neck, and we did this too. I'm 212 pounds. If I put my knee on your upper shoulder or near your neck, you have a good chance of dying really quick. So the whole point is it's to get somebody restrained. He was already in handcuffs.
Okay, so does it say that you got to get him off the ground at a certain point in the Minneapolis manual?
Yeah, immediately.
So it says that. Oh, wait. Call it. Hold on. Wait. Let me just. So it says that in the manual.
Which part?
Where you say you got to get him up, where you got to get off the ground. Like, okay, you do the knee maneuver and then get him up immediately. Is all of that right there you just said? Is it in the manual?
Not in the same.
Oh, okay.
Paragraph.
So it's not in the manual. So where is it at?
No. It's in the manual, but it's not in the same paragraph.
Oh, okay. So,
all right. So example, in one part, if you have somebody arrested and on the prone position, you have to get them up, right? So if you can, it doesn't say that on the knee, like the knee maneuver. On the knee maneuver, it just says you can use it to have somebody restrained, but you have to put two and two together. That's the thing.
So you just kind of like doing a little bit of guesswork on your end.
No, not really. I mean, it's right there.
I mean, if it don't say it, if it don't say that's part of the maneuver, then you're kind of guessing that has to go together like that. But it may or may not be true.
It is true.
Okay, I mean, but why didn't they say that in court?
With the lawyer, they did. Actually, they did it like day 6. They said it like I can't remember his name, but I think it was like day 6, and the guy brought that up.
You said what now? That you have to get the guy up off the ground after the maneuver?
Yes, once you're in handcuffs, you have to get him off the prone position for legal reasons.
So he said,
it's the same as tasing. I'm not legally. I can tase you more than 3 times, which is 15 seconds. But after I tase you for 15 seconds, you're already restrained. At that point, I'm liable for a lawsuit.
Okay, so it says so the lawyer or whoever, like who said that in the trial? Was it an expert witness or a lawyer?
It was one. I think.
That's a big distinction because if it's an expert witness, they say anything. If it was an expert witness, they could say anything, and it might not be right because one guy said that the knee was a blood choke. It's not a blood choke, obviously, but they could say that because they're not a lawyer. They're just an expert witness. So there's a key distinction there, whether it was an expert witness or a lawyer. If a lawyer says it and it's wrong, then that's a problem.
I don't think it was a witness, but one of his own coworkers, if I remember correctly, I think he was his coworker that worked in evidence. I think he worked evidence, but he even said that he used it not improperly, but he didn't use it correctly. At the time, he should have got up. That's the whole thing. You're not wrong, but the whole point is once he's in handcuffs, you should get off of his neck. That's the whole point. So he wasn't wrong, but he was wrong.
Okay, I mean. But people in the chat, they're saying something different. I might have to go look at the book because really what it boils down
they're
to
not
is...
police officers. I'm pretty sure they're not police officers, though.
Well, how do you know they're not?
Come on.
What are you basing that on? It's a lot of officers who watch the show.
I said I'm pretty sure. I didn't say they weren't. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure.
But what are you basing that on? What are you basing your assumption on?
They're saying some crazy stuff that I know that isn't. Like, they say crazy stuff. Like, oh, if they run, you can shoot them in the back, which is also half truth. You can only shoot somebody in the back if they pose a threat to somebody else.
So you can't shoot them in the back?
Huh?
So you can shoot them in the back?
Yes, if they pose a threat if you know that they are a threat, then you can shoot them in the back. If you know they have a gun and they pose a threat, you can eliminate. You know, I don't want to say certain words.
No, I got you. I understand.
Yeah, you can neutralize the threat. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. You know, like, you're not wrong, but I just got, I don't know. It was one of those things like that's not really correct, but you weren't wrong. But I'm really more mad at Brando. He kind of disappointed me because he knows better.
Well, we'll see what happens on the appeal, man. But thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, you too.
All right. So yeah, shout out to the caller. A lot of you guys in the chat, I was reading it. A lot of you guys were like, "Hey, man, who is this guy?" But I thank you for the call. I appreciate different points of view. I really do. All right. So let me go back to where I was. And thank you all for being here yet again. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, give the video a thumbs up. Also, share the video, like the video, do all that good stuff. And if you're not subscribed to me yet, go ahead and do that right now. I'd greatly appreciate it if you did. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. All right, hold on. I had it right there. Let me go back. 480, you're online. Who am I speaking to? 480, hello.
Is this Anthony Brian Logan?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, my goodness, Jacob. I'm out here in Arizona. I live relatively near Brandon Tatum. Oh, that's fantastic. So I was watching the trial. I got to watch a lot of the trial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed in what I saw with every time the defense attorney, I believe his name is Eric Nelson, on like day 23, he spoke to an ex-officer of the law who went into law, and he virtually had to restate every sentence like 5-6 different times. And then on the final closing arguments from the prosecution, I can't remember his name, this fine gentleman, but he basically started the whole closing arguments with how George Floyd still cuddled his mother and all these different very emotionally evoking statements, which of course the whole thing is a tragedy. It's a complete devastation that this incident occurred. But I feel like they kind of skipped a lot of the details. He literally coached the whole jury on how to react. The defendant said we should have sequestrated the entire jury I don't know how many times during this trial. Never happened, and it continuously just got worse and worse. Multiple other officers had allegedly murdered different individuals based on the situations of their cases. And I just feel like that there was a lot of dishonesty going on in what was happening. There was like a key witness that could not be used in the trial because he would put himself in harm's way of the law. So the prosecution didn't allow him to talk about any of the information he had. I think it was his passenger, his drug dealer or something. I just feel like the whole thing got really, it shouldn't have been broadcasted on the media the way it was. And there was like no way for this trial or these jurors, I don't know if these jurors should have been from that area, because anyone in their right mind wouldn't want to be there, because at the very beginning, they'd already stated, hey, if you're on this jury, at some point your names will come out. No one wants to put not guilty if they know that their names are going to come out with the way the country has changed since this trial started. This case literally changed the whole country.
Yeah, man, that's definitely a part of it, because they don't want to have that attached to them. It's a safety issue. If their name comes out, it's not only them that could be in danger, but their whole family. So that's not a thing they really want to be associated with. It's really unfortunate, but that's kind of what is going on.
Yeah. No, I feel bad for everyone involved. Chauvin, I mean, somebody just started GoFundMe. I don't want to throw that out there too heavy, but for his family at least, the whole situation is just a tragedy for the nation, whether you're for the guilty and not guilty verdict. But I feel like based on the beyond a reasonable doubt qualification, I don't know how he could have possibly received guilty on all counts unless the jurors were kind of terrified for their lives or for their families' lives, especially if you have children. It just seemed a little over the top to me, but I've been watching it. After I heard Kamala Harris say that we are all a part of George Floyd's legacy, we all need to honor him and honor his legacy, and we're a part of it. Everything I heard, I was just like, what are we talking about? And and that's not to disrespect him or his family. I wish nothing but the best for the Floyd family, but I just felt like there were some real disingenuous statements stated throughout this time frame about what's going on.
Right on, man.
By the way, I love your channel. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I've been watching this, thoroughly following it, and I just feel like there's been a lot of disingenuousness during the court procedures and how the defense had to re-ask like every question, I don't know how many times, because nobody wanted to say anything that could potentially make Derrick Chauvin not guilty. So I just thought everything was set up really weird for the public to watch.
Right on. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Nothing but love. You have a wonderful night.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Let's get to a few more here. All right, call you online. Speaker 217.
Yeah, this is Patrick Dacker. I'm a huge fan, ABL.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was just wanted to weigh in on everything that's going on. There's no way he received a fair trial. I mean, if he was, what he did was wrong, admittedly, but and then to make George Floyd a saint is just absolutely positively ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call in and say that I'm a big fan and that I love what you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. And let's do a few more here. 434 in the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I've enjoyed watching your show, and everybody's talking about which went wrong. But what I would like to say is, we need to look at, like in rural communities, children are taught to respect the police, and in the cities, they're not taught to respect the police. And I think that not enough of that is given, because if you respect the police and do not resist arrest, you will not be arrested.
That's right. I got a little bit of feedback in the background. Turn your speakers down for me, please.
Okay. And
yeah,
so I'm just saying that, it starts in the home. Growing up, as a white man, I've very rarely heard anybody say anything racially disparity. I've heard more racial from people who are black talking about other black people. But, white people, we care just like everybody else. Everybody wants a happy life, a happy family. And I have 2 young sons, 21 and 23, and I've taught them, do not argue with the police. Treat the police with respect and do what they say. If they do something wrong, you can handle that at a later date. The police are humans, and we have to learn as a group of people that we got to abide by what the police say. And I'm just so worried that the culture, I've heard police officers in Baltimore say, a woman can get raped in the middle of the street and nobody comes forward. As a society, we have to be willing to step forward and do the right thing and back our police.
That's right. It's got to be a thing that we all do. It can't just be the police out there on the island by themselves and they're always getting criticized for every little thing they do that could be considered wrong, although it may not be. We have to all be on the same page together. We do our job, they do their job. That's how it's supposed to be.
And then I really think the politicians and the media is, I was raised by my mother and a black lady that was like my grandmother. And I was raised by 2 strong women, and they'd beat the hell out of me if I was doing anything that's on TV that you see people out doing these supposedly peaceful protests that are riots. And I think it starts at home, and we got to understand we're all human beings. We're not really black or white. We're human beings. And the media is pushing this per-profit media is pushing this race thing and making the children feel like they're victims. Everybody's a victim. It's a cop-out. And I think as a society, we got to teach people this is a great country. I've had people come in my office that were from Africa, and they said this is the best place they've ever been. They love America. But we're teaching our children to hate America, to hate that America is great, to hate, like, for example, some of our forefathers did good things and bad things. We can't counsel them out, but let's teach the good and the bad, and let's listen to everybody's point of view. And I believe the Democrats and Republicans are on the same side. They like to keep everybody upset over race while they're robbing the bank and bankrupting our country.
Yeah, I won't say it's a both sides thing. I think it's more on the left, but I think yeah, it's more on the left. But I do agree that a lot of the political people keep us distracted while they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. Get their hands in the cookie jar, robbing the country. I do agree with you on that, man. So I'm right there with you. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I like listening to you. It's too bad you couldn't run for president. You'd be a whole lot better off than what we have now.
Right on, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
All righty. Let's get to some more here. Let's do 504. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Jay. How you doing today?
Everything's right, man. Can't complain about yourself.
I'm doing okay. First, I want to tell you, man, I really enjoy your show. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I just wanted to call in about a couple of things. I was listening to some of the callers earlier, and I think it was a Hispanic male that said that he's also a BLM, and he was talking about the officer, the incident when the young girl got shot today. And he was saying how he felt like there was one shot too many. And then he felt like when the other young Hispanic male was running from the police officer, that he should have told him to put his hands on the wall or the fence or whatever the case may be. If you look at both of those videos and you look at the interaction between those people and the police, they were a matter of seconds in both incidents. Now, if you talk about the one where the young male was running, he's running, the officer's telling him to stop, put the gun down. As he's turning, he's got the gun in his hand. Now, the officer has to assess all of this in a matter of split seconds, if even a full second. And he comes around with the gun, and then the officer fires. The other incident, the officer pulls up. Now, when I looked at the video, it looked like to me initially that the officer, the first officer to see with the body-worn camera, he was there by himself because after the young girl was shot, then you see the other officers come in the frame. Now, they may have been there prior to, I don't know, but it looks like they showed up like pretty much like right after as the incident was going on. When that officer got there, and you're looking at a bird's eye view, because you're seeing what he's seeing from his camera, there's a multiple things going on at one time. He was trying to talk to the girl in the pink. She's calm. Then you see the fight coming out. Then you see this girl that had the knife that got shot. She's knocking the girl down to the ground. He may have seen the knife at that point. Then you got a grown man trying to kick the girl that's already on the ground while the other girl is turning to go after the other female. All of this within a matter of seconds, and this officer has to assess that, and then he fires his weapon, and I think rightfully so, because he's defending the other girl's life. Now, if the girl that got shot, if she was in fact the one that called, then she should have approached the officer like the girl in pink, not just come out there acting crazy and attacking everybody, because she attacked two people while the officer's on scene. So she's calling for assistance. Why is she being so aggressive towards two people? And like another caller said earlier, there was a grown man out there. There were adults out there. Why weren't they intervening, trying to stop this? So that's another thing. And then you have LeBron James, who's just, thank God that he can play basketball, because LeBron James has to be one of the most ignorant people that I've ever seen in my life. And it's because he opens his mouth. He has a huge platform. He opens his mouth before he gets all the facts. And then look, once you put it out there on the internet, or once you put it out there on Twitter or whatever, it's out there now because you know somebody's seen it and it's going to be posted. And now if you're so proud of your stance, why take it down? Because now obviously you must realize that you have made a mistake, that you've opened your mouth way before you should have. You know, and that's the problem with a lot of these athletes and so they want to step in, they want to be so holy thou when they don't really know the situation. Instead of taking time and saying, well, let me see what's going on, you know, let me look at it first, let me make a honest opinion on it. They just want to act off emotions. And then you post this man's picture on the internet and you make a caption on it. And just like you said earlier, some people might take that as, well, he's going to be the next one being arrested. But then there might be some people saying, hey, we're going to go after this guy and get him because we have this. This is what the society is all about. This man actually saved someone's life, but you don't talk about that. You had another black male kicking another female in the head. Nobody's saying anything about that. But they want to turn it around on the police all the time. And that's unfortunate. You know, there was a caller that called in earlier saying he's a police officer and that this wasn't right. He's trying to read from a handbook. You know, maybe he is, maybe he's not, but I'll be honest with you, I doubt very seriously that the guy's in law enforcement. You know, I think he's probably watching a bunch of shows and just trying to, you know, do things like that. But I think that, because just like you said, you know, or do you have the ruling prior to? Do you have the ruling prior to? Well, he was kind of hemming and hawing, bouncing around that fact. Well, it's in another paragraph and all that. No. If that was in the handbook, then that's what the guy was going by at the time. Now, I'm not justifying anything when it comes to that because it played out the way it played out. So I'll leave my comments to myself when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I just think that in today's society, if you're not going to be a part of the solution, where God wants us all to be one nation, like they say, under God, and to come together as a people, then keep your mouth shut, because it seems like all these other people have a different agenda, you know, and now you're talking about how George Floyd, his legacy. Well, I guarantee you that there's people in his family or people that have benefited from that money-wise, and they could care less about George Floyd or what happened to him. They're not worried about that. while their bank account is growing or while they're getting money, they could care less. Yeah, they might be saying thank you, George Floyd, every time they go to the ATM, and that's unfortunate because a man did lose his life. And I'm not condoning violence in any way, shape, or form. But if you're going to tell the story, tell it right. So with you, ABL, I enjoy your platform. I enjoy your program. And you really have an open mind and you try to listen to everybody's viewpoint. The other gentleman kept trying to talk over you, kept trying to talk over you. He doesn't know what he's talking about, But then he wants to get in and get out saying what the officer should do. He's not an officer either, so he doesn't know what's going on. So you just keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate everything, and I appreciate the fact that you allow people to get on your platform and be able to express their opinions, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You allow people to do that. So kudos to you, and keep up the good work.
I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You take care.
Fantastic call. Fantastic. Shout out to the caller. I need an applause button here somewhere. I know I got it. I don't know which one it is. So great call. All right, let's go to the next one here. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, what up, ABL? How you doing?
Everything's all right, man. Can't complain.
How you doing? Hey, man, didn't think I'd get through. I understand how they feel when they get through. First-time caller. Want to appreciate you, what you're doing, awakening people, black people, you, Candace, Brandon, the Hodge twins, Lucas back in the day. Happy I got through. Anyway, shout out to a couple callers tonight. Congrats on the wedding and everything. Before I get too much into it, how you doing?
Oh, it's all good.
All right. Yeah, I understand the first time jitters anyway. Support cops, you know what I mean? And I support people when they're in the right and they're killed, wrongfully by the police. But we can't. My problem with some of this stuff is we can't go too far with becoming almost like a status place, like too pro-cop. Like, we still got to toe the line. I understand Ohio justified, Toledo and Chicago justified, Dante Wright justified. I understand these. I'm talking more about the ones that don't come to light, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also off another one, the last call. Sorry, I'm trying to look through my notes while I'm talking. With LeBron James, stop looking up to celebrities. We need to stop, especially as black community. Stop looking up to all of these people on Instagram. Yeah, it's cool. It's social media, but it's media. It's just for entertainment. It's not for us to emulate. You know what I mean? Like, I think that today we take too much into what these celebrities say, and a lot of them, like LeBron James, like a Cardi B, like I don't know, list goes on and on. Whoever tries to, even Demi Lovato, I mean, if you want to talk, they're not in touch with the everyday person. And I mentioned Demi Lovato, just say in touch with the everyday people. They are celebrities. We love them for why we love them, but leave it at that. Leave it at that. Like, you are your own person. You control your destiny. You control what you make of your own life. And, you pray to who you pray to, and you live life the way you're supposed to live it. And I know you got plenty of callers, fam, so you be safe. Congrats on the wedding, and keep on fighting the good fight, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right.
All righty, good call. Let's get to some more here. Let's go 707 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Anti-View. How are you today, EVL?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain about yourself.
I am well. Thanks for asking. There are so many things going on, isn't there? And I feel like we could have so many different conversations just alone with me being in Minnesota. But I think I'm going to have to talk about vaccinations briefly. There's a lot of craziness that's happening with vaccines. the biggest thing is people don't realize they're not FDA approved.
That's right.
Okay?
Experimental.
So there is so many people that like I see daily because I'm a nurse, and they come in and why don't I see this on TV? Why don't I know about it on TV? Okay, well, number one, it has to be FDA approved in order for it to run an ad on a television show. They can say whatever they want during the news or 2020 or any of those, but they cannot buy ad space and say to you that this will cure your COVID, which is funny, unless it's FDA approved. Which, just a little tidbit information, the flu shot was invented in the 1940s and the flu is still around. So this COVID vaccine is not meant to get rid of COVID. I hear so many politicians saying that it's going to cure COVID. No, it's going to lessen your symptoms that you might have. P.S. If you've had COVID, your symptoms could be pretty severe that first shot that you get. Nobody tells you that. The second shot, you're okay. If you haven't had COVID, the first shot you're okay, but the second shot can be pretty severe. With any of those side effects, drink your water. And not every single pharmacy is telling you that. And they're not telling you where to report your side effects. So it's really hard for me to put that into my body when I know that some of these side effects aren't really being processed in real time. I mean, how many people, I don't know how many of these viewers that are on right now, how many people of you get medications at a pharmacy and when they hand you that paperwork, you throw it in the garbage the minute you get home.
Right,
Exactly. That is the side effects. That is, if you have anything happen that is beside a sore arm, you need to contact us so that we can call it in to the VAERS website and we can track it. Well, I tell you, I've given hundreds of vaccinations. I have made pharmacies thousands of dollars. Okay. And I've maybe only entered 2 of those into the VAERS. And one of them I was personally there for, and it was terrifying. And there are certain people that should not get the vaccination. And I say it every time I make a post on my group. I say it every time we talk. Educate yourself. Education is like the most important thing out there, right? With that education said, you can't, FDA does not approve this vaccine, but yet you can put my child on an FDA-approved hormone suppressant right now. What's his name? Drew Hernandez posted about that on Twitter today, and I thought that was really funny because I got a real big hate letter from the football coach saying that, I'm sorry, but our kids are going to have to wear masks for football. And I'm like, really? Because of why? Because he is not getting a vaccine that the FDA approved, but I can get him this hormone displacing drug to suppress his puberty, and it's okay with the state of Minnesota?
That's crazy.
I don't know. Anywho, I hope that you have a great night. Oh, last thing. You posted something about shingles and the shot, and I posted a response to it. Huge reason why that's happening is people that have had chickenpox, they can get shingles just because of a natural stress response. So like if you had shingles in the past and then you got super nervous and super stressed out for your wedding this weekend, you could have popped some shingles. Had nothing to necessarily do with the COVID vaccine. It did have to do with the COVID vaccine because it's pushing the body to that stress. So educate before you vaccinate. You have a great night, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah, definitely. So if you already had shingles, you might not want the vaccine if you got somewhere to be because it might pop the shingles back. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, just FYI, the more you know what I'm talking about. So let's get to some more here. Alrighty. 213, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Chris out in LA. It's been a minute since I called you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. So I'm surprised I got on. You got a lot of callers today. But no, I was going to bring up something. I know you did a video a little while back. It was about like Oakland receiving that like monthly payment to families. I was reading an article, and apparently LA is about to do sort of the same thing, except it's going to be like a guaranteed income to low wage families. Like they'll get like $1,000 a month. And I'm surprised you didn't do a video about that.
I've not seen that one.
What was that?
I've not seen that one about LA.
No, it's supposed to be implemented pretty soon, but I'm not sure how many families in particular, and I don't think it has to do with like race. Like I think it's just all low wage, people like in a household, and I don't really see a lot of pros to it because first off, they're already planning to like pull out a bunch of money for the program itself. So the real question is where's that money coming from? Like, are they just going to raise the taxes again? Because they're already trying to push the taxes up to like 16% in California, which is crazy for personal income tax. But it's supposed to be one of the largest cities that's supposed to implement that program. And I just thought that was kind of insane. I didn't know what your take on it was.
You know what? I think what's happening with that program, what's going to happen is already happening right now under this whole thing with the unemployment insurance and the stimmy checks. You're going to have a bunch of low wage jobs that have a lot of vacancies. Like where I live, they desperate. It's like, man, please come work. We're giving you 12 an hour, 13 an hour, 15 an hour. People don't really want to work a low wage job, even if it's like $15 an hour, because they can sustain themselves on government assistance, on this UBI thing they want to do. Like somebody may think, okay, if I'm getting this extra money, it might kind of encourage me to use that money to get more money, but really they just kind of live like that and they're comfortable. They don't have to work. They can just sit home and collect the check. That's that welfare state. That's that not wanting to do anything and just letting the government take care of you.
I think in these bigger cities, the problem is they're trying to keep the poor poor. They're not letting them kind of get ahead. That's why we see a lot of these major cities doing these handouts, and it's ridiculous. But apparently, it's supposed to be like called a guaranteed income, and the idea of guaranteed income, it just sounds so ridiculous. It's like, oh, you're telling me that I get a guaranteed income because I make only $15 an hour and work 32 hours a week. Like that time should be spent like trying to get a better job. But the people in the bigger cities, they're just so stuck and they need to get out first off. But I mean, it's ridiculous when I was seeing how much money they're putting in. Like they're supposed to put in like, I think $35 million to fund the program. And I don't know how long it will last, but I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I think what's going to end up happening is it'll just create a bigger divide between the rich and the poor, a much bigger divide. The middle class will kind of get decimated because they'll be the ones that end up paying for everything. Because if there's less workers that go to low wage places, then that means the cost of things at the low wage places will go up higher to pay higher wages. And that's going to all go in the middle class. And then the rich person,
exactly.
And if you're a rich person, you're able to still stay in business, you'll be able to get more money. That's just kind of how it is. So it's not a good thing for them to do. I'm not really sure if there's an ulterior motive, but if the purpose is to create a bigger divide between the rich and the poor, they'll be successful.
Yeah, and out of all cities, I mean, I've been to a lot of cities, but LA is probably the only city where I see the biggest divide between the rich and the poor. You know, you got places like Beverly Hills, and then you drive to the south side where South LA, you got the people living in extreme poverty. And it's depressing because there's no mutual ground. It's just rich and poor. There's no middle.
Right.
And they just want to keep more people in poverty in these big cities. That's why they're giving all these handouts, and it's ridiculous. And there's a price to pay. You know, the rich, wealthy liberals who live in Beverly Hills, they're going to have to pay more in taxes, and it's just going to ruin the state. And not just that, not just California, but like New York and all these other cities that plan to do the same thing. You know, big cities are no longer the same because there's this divide. and it's so depressing.
That's right. Right on.
Yes, but me myself, I'm planning to get out of California here pretty soon in May. So, you know, if my car breaks down, man, like you said, I'll just have to walk. But that's probably not going to happen. But you know, I'll walk if I have to.
That's right, man. Well, I thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, ABL. I love the show. Love what you're doing. You have a great rest of your week, and also congrats on your marriage, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You take care.
All right, now. All righty. Shout out to the caller. And we got a few more coming in. We got about a half hour left in the show. The number to call, 434-658. One day there's 434-658-1220. There's also a way to call in through Skype. The email for that is in the description box below the video. Let's get to some more. And hold on one second. Let's go. Let me see. All right, Skype caller, who am I speaking? Okay, I guess the Skype call didn't go through. All right, caller, who am I speaking to? 757.
Hey, this is Lively Stone 93. I would like to talk about the relationship between the Democratic Party and the Black community at large. So it's like when you look at it, they're in a toxic relationship. So they are allowing the left to tell them their boundary lines, to tell them that they're oppressed and that, you know, the white man is beating them down and they can't do anything. And at large, the Black community is believing in that. And, you know, they're turning against one another and abusing each other and saying the same things to one another, not giving each other hope, not saying, okay, look, we can do something, we can move forward. Every race or nationality of people has faced oppression at some point in time in history. So there has to come a point to where the men, because the men are to be the leaders, they come together and say, okay, this is how we are going to conduct our community and just move forward for the betterment of the women and children. So there are a lot of Black males. They don't see the need to defend their women or their children. That's why we see the video of this grown male kicking that girl in the head how he did. I mean, a man will not do that. Men are natural protectors and providers. So I don't call people like that men because they don't deserve that title, you know, to them. And with that other video of that the white guy, he was like being like real irate or whatever, yelling at the younger Black guy who was in his neighborhood. He was protecting his wife. And a lot of white men, they protect their community. So why are you getting mad at them for doing what a man is supposed to do? And, you know, they want to paint it, oh, that's racist. And that's just an excuse right now. And the left, they allow that. They coddle the Black community at large. And they say, oh, it's okay. You can act how you want to because y'all been oppressed and down for so long. Like, you know, just throw your tantrum and let it be. And they're not interested in telling them the truth and to help them to better themselves and their community. They're not interested in them growing, you know, for the better. So that's what I've noticed at large. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep, thank you.
That was a great call. That's right on it. That's right on. Yeah, so it's like, what's the point? What's the point in protecting anybody? Like, if you're a man, you should be there. Like, your job, these women out here you got to protect. If you think that it's okay, like that's something I've seen a lot lately that I didn't really see a lot coming up, is men attacking women just out in the open. I'm not saying it never happened before, but it wasn't common just to see somebody just do that. It was just really weird to see that happen. So it's just, yeah, it's definitely a thing. All right, caller, who am I speaking to? Caller, Skype caller.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, what's good?
Ain't too much, man. What's
I
going
wasn't
on?
even expecting to get through, man. I was brushing my teeth. What's going on, man?
Ain't too much.
So, I'm Tyrant's Bane, the one that wanted to talk to you about the police culture.
Okay.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
I hear you well. Can you hear me?
Barely. I got you on speaker on this Skype thing, but it's not working that well. Basically, I have a question. I want to start with a couple questions.
All right.
Should everybody be held accountable for their actions?
Yep.
Including police officers, right?
Yeah.
So, what protections should they have when they're on the job? What like how far do you think the protection should go for police officers when they're on the job doing their thing? They're supposed to protect and serve, right? The community.
Yeah.
Do you agree that they're supposed to serve and protect the community?
Yes.
So, do you feel there's a level of protection they should have, or should they be held just as accountable as everyone else?
Well, it depends
in the community.
Well, it depends on what you mean. When you're talking about protection, maybe you're talking about laws. Like there's laws that have to be different for police officers because they have certain legal abilities that the average person does not have. A regular person cannot take you to jail and lock you up and do things like that. So there must be certain things lawfully that they are able to do because they are, state agents that no one person couldn't do.
Okay. But, in some states, there are such thing as citizens arrest. So some citizens do have certain amount of arrest powers in certain instances.
Yeah, but they can't send you to jail and do all that type
well,
of
no,
thing.
they can't send you to jail.
Yeah,
right?
So they have certain power, but like I say, there's certain things that the regular citizen cannot do that a police officer can do. So under the law, there's certain things that there's certain differences. Put it to you like that.
Right. There's certain differences, but how far should they be able to go when they're performing their powers, like when they're exercising their powers to arrest and detain and all that stuff? Should they be able to get away with things that a normal citizen wouldn't get away with outside of handling those powers, right? So let's say there's a homeless person sitting by a dumpster in a business, right? The business calls you and says, "Hey, I got this guy. He's hanging around my dumpster. He's causing disturbances." And then when you show up, right, the homeless person is sitting against the trash can with just sitting there, right? And the officers, let's say the officer gets out of their vehicles and there's like 6 or 7 police officers. They just get out and start shooting the person on the ground laying next to the dumpster because the guy told them to screw off. Do you think that they should get away with that?
Well, that's not lawful, so you can't do that.
Right. Okay, but that happened in real life.
Okay, when did this happen?
Somebody. It happened a couple years ago. It was I don't know if it was a white guy or whatever. I don't know his name, but this was like this is a video someone else is playing, right? And I was trying to find the link to it. You don't have to take my word for it. As a matter of fact, you can call BS on me right now because I didn't actually present anything solid for you to look up. But I'm sure you can find it. But I can give you a couple of other examples. Like, I won't even mention any black people. Like Daniel Schaefer, right? The guy that was in the hallway. Do you think that he should have been killed like that? Do you think the officer was in the right doing what he did?
I don't remember what happened. What happened?
So with Daniel Schaefer, he was in his hotel room. He was in a hotel room in Mesa, California. Mesa, Arizona. And I guess somebody saw him in the window playing with a firearm, but it was like a BB gun, right? So the police showed up, and the kid is drunk. The kid is drunk, right? So his girlfriend comes out first. He was with a woman. I don't know if it was his girlfriend or whatever, but she comes out first, follows the instructions, goes to the police officers, right? Then Daniel Schaefer comes out, and he's crawling on the ground because they told him to crawl on the ground. And you have an officer giving him 3 or 4 different contradictory instructions.
Okay.
Like, pull your pants up. No, don't reach down. cross your feet, crawl to me, stand up, stand down, like all these different commands. And then his pants are falling down, right? His pants are coming down, right? So he goes to pull his pants up and he gets shot, right?
Okay, so what's the end result of that?
He died. The police officer never got convicted or anything. Nothing happened to the police officer, basically.
Okay, I need to look more. I think I do remember that case. I need to look more into it. I can't just say I can't just give you my opinion on it without looking into it myself. But my thing is, it's really rare that a police officer does something that's egregious and unlawful and gets away with it. It's rare. It's just not a common thing to happen.
Well, it's rare if they get caught.
Well, the thing is, it's much more rare for an officer to do something and get away with it than it is for a civilian to do something and get away with it. That's very common.
What?
Tell me the clearance rate in Chicago, for example, of murders.
Oh, the clearance rate in Chicago is horrible.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about.
I do not agree that. Look, the Chicago, everything going on in Chicago is a problem. Everything going on in the inner city is maybe a bigger problem, right? If you look at it on a grander scale. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that it's okay for black people to be killing each other and that's like less important than a cop killing a black person. I'm not one of those people, right? But what I do know is if Lil Pookie down the street shoots somebody dead in the street, right? And actually gets caught red-handed, there's no question that he is going to serve time for that.
If he gets caught, that's the key.
If he gets caught, exactly. But see, the problem is, you grew up in the inner city. I did too. I grew up in Compton, right? There is a culture of not snitching, right? Where if you get caught snitching, the police, no one has faith in the police to protect them if they turn state's witness or federal witness against the person that did the killing, right? Because they'll get found, they'll get killed, right? Like the city does not want to spend the money on protecting, somebody like that. And that's the bigger problem. But what I'm really trying to get at is if everybody should be held accountable for their actions, while police officers need some form of latitude to handle business in a certain way to do their job, when they do something wrong and it's known that they've done something wrong, then they should be held at a higher standard than anyone else, because they're charged with enforcing the law, right? So if you're charged with enforcing the law, when you break the law, you should suffer. And this is how I feel like.
Okay, I got like limited time, so you got to go, make your point right quick.
The point is, they should be held at a higher standard. They should be held a lot more accountable than they are. And I know that people want to say it's rare that police officers do bad things, get away with it, but it's a lot more common than you would think, just because of the culture. So I feel like I'm real quick. We know qualified immunity has only to do with civil lawsuits.
Yes.
But if you get rid of that, I think it would go a long way to change things.
All you're gonna do is just get worse officers, and you're gonna have the murder rate go up. Because how is it gonna get worse? Because what's going to happen is the good guys are not going to want to risk their life or their freedom by having
the bad guys aren't.
No, the bad guys ain't gonna care. The bad guys ain't gonna care. What the bad guys are gonna do is just not show up when they're not gonna be responding to calls. It's gonna be lower response rate. And we already know it's a problem right now in the inner cities with the police not even coming. You're gonna have more of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So the good cops are gonna want to go out there and protect. The bad ones are gonna want to say, you know what, I ain't even going out there. So you're gonna have the murder rate and all that go up because you're not even gonna have the police out there. So that's gonna be the end result.
But the good cops don't have to worry about that, the qualified immunity, because they're gonna do the right thing.
No, but see, the thing is, you can do the right.
There's a way to handle the murder rate.
Hold on. You can do the right thing. You could do the right thing and still get sued. People get sued all the time, and they didn't really do anything. Nick Cannon got sued because his nanny said that the baby headbutted her. You know what I'm saying? So it's all kind of it's all kind of crazy lawsuits. Just because you got sued, I mean, you did something wrong. You just happened to get sued, and then you might have your whole life turned upside down because of a frivolous lawsuit or an improper lawsuit.
I agree with that, and that's why you had to change how lawsuits are handled.
Well,
there's always
that's a good point, but I'm out of time for this call. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All righty. So yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to have good cops, you can't put them in a situation where they may lose their freedom based upon, you know, something frivolous, something silly, and or losing money, losing their shirt. They're gonna just say, you know what, I'll go do something else. Just join the military. Really, that'd probably be better. All right, let's get to the next call. All right, caller, who am I speaking to? Skype caller.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, you. Maybe you can't hear me, but I can hear. I can see you. Okay. I don't know. You got to get it together, man. You got to get the Obama phone, Chromecast, whatever you got going on, tighten up. Let's get to the next one. All right. Let's do 416 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
How you doing there, man? It's Cigar Box.
All right, man. What's happening?
Just when I thought the world was weird, it just gets weirder. I got a little thing here. This guy was talking about the cops and being accountable and stuff. My friend's sister, she became a cop as a diversity hire, and she openly says it. And but she was saying like there was a whole bunch of them in there because they were trying to fill up the police force at the time with all kinds of minorities and all kinds of women. There was a few police women, but they wanted a lot more. And she said there was somebody taking the written test at the same time she was, who had already failed, and they were letting them take it a second time with the book open. Now, this says to me this person should not be there. Like, if they can't even do this properly in a relaxed environment, how are they going to go out and make decisions, split-second decisions? And I'm not crapping on diversity hiring type of thing here. It's just it was a point that she was trying to make, because she even said that she was one of the ones in it. But it just goes to show that there's cops of all sorts who are squeaking in under the wire who shouldn't be cops. And this is one of the problems that we have. But how? Everybody says, well, they should screen them. They screen them like crazy, but you can only do so much screening before you fall flat in your face. You can't screen for every single thing. It's just impossible to do. You're gonna have bad people in there, just like with everything else, like in a business, in our government, and everything else. It's always going to be bad people in there. You're not going to get rid of them. As for that thing that happened with that girl, if the police didn't show up, we would have had a dead black girl. The police showed up, there was a dead black girl. What's the difference? If the police didn't show up, we would never have heard about that death.
That's right.
They don't really care.
That's
they
right.
don't care. They just care because it was a cop that did it. Anyways, thanks a lot, Anthony, and have a good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Great call. Fantastic. 480, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, what's up? First time, long time.
Thank you for the call, man. What's happening?
Thank you. This is Gabriel from Phoenix. Hey, I have a question. I've noticed a lot of people have been calling in. They seem to know a lot about policing, what police should do, what police shouldn't do, and they seem to be very passionate. I'm just curious, why do you think if these people are out there that know so much about policing and they seem to really care about it so much, why don't they put on the badge and go show everybody how it's done? What do you think?
That is a very good question that I've wondered myself. You know, you got all these Monday morning quarterbacks, all these guys with all this, deep detailed analysis themselves when they're talking about policing. It's like, all right, you seem to be an expert. You seem to be fantastic. You can do a great job. You can improve upon, the culture in policing? Go out there and give it a whirl. That's a good question. Good point.
I had no idea there were so many people out here that were so qualified and so passionate and know so much about policing, but they don't do anything about it. Blows my mind. And then I want to jump to another topic. Let me get your take. It's about illegal immigration. I think I've got the perfect solution.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. Every illegal family that comes across the border has to be sponsored by a registered Democrat family for 2 years. If they're that passionate about illegal immigration, they should have no problem with that. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. You know, they say, okay, no borders, no walls. All right, that's fine. Well, okay, how about the same way? No borders, no walls in your house. Let them come straight to where you live, and you sponsor them, you take care of them. And if they go out here and they commit crime or they do something they shouldn't be doing, or if they decide to receive welfare benefits, things of that nature, you're going to be liable if you're the Democratic family that has sponsored them. So I think it's a fantastic idea. That's great.
Absolutely. They seem to care about it. They seem to care about these people. I say put your money where your mouth is. Let's see how much you care.
That's right.
Thanks, ABL.
Thank you,
Talk
man.
to you later.
Appreciate it. That's a great call. Hold on. Let me try this right quick. Great call. Loved it. All right. Let me see. All righty, caller or Skype. Who am I speaking to? Skype caller, PBY.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing good, thank you.
All righty, man. So what's on your mind? What's going on?
Well, I actually, oops.
You good?
I'm still here.
All right. What's going on?
Well, I actually used to be a PPCT instructor, which is pressure point and control tactics. My name's Ted.
All right. So like if you're watching the stream, don't do that. Just talk to me. Just talk to me on Skype.
Oh, okay. Good, thank you.
All right.
Well, basically, I used to be a PPCT instructor, which is pressure point control tactics. It's what most police departments and corrections use to as part of their use of force.
Okay.
And basically, what a lot of people that I see making the comments and kind of second quarterbacking these incidents that are happening.
Right, of course. That's what they do all the time.
And what they need to do is they need to familiarize themselves with something that's known as the use of force continuum. And it basically says if a suspect is doing this, then this is how you can react. And you can look it up on Google, you can look it up on any of the search engines. And one of the things that it states is that, like with the situation that happened in Ohio, is that the safe distance for anybody when they come across somebody that has a edged weapon, as they call it, is 21 feet, because that person can turn and charge at you, and you have to create that distance between yourself. Now, when I watched the video of the officer in Ohio, I noticed that he drew his weapon, and his first threat was the person that was going to kick the person on the ground in the head.
Right.
But then he had really good situational awareness to notice the girl with the knife, which was a greater threat because the girl on the ground had already kind of rolled away and got out of that person's foot. And he did good situational awareness by noticing the knife and eliminating the threat. And I know I think it was the police chief in Columbus had mentioned that most officers are trained to shoot center mass of the target presented to you. Because people will come and say, hey, shoot him in the leg or shoot him in the arm. Well, if that's the target presented to you, then yes, that's what they're trained to do. But if the target is the entire body, then the police are going to shoot mass as trained.
Right, which makes sense. And then also you want to make sure that you are going to be able to hit the person, because in this situation in Ohio, the target was right next to the potential victim. like side by
Yes.
side. So you don't want to shoot and miss and then hit her or hit someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to look at the totality of the circumstances. And another thing you have to look at is you have to, and the direct quoting is to be aware of your target and beyond. Shooting a warning shot definitely wouldn't work because, bullets don't discriminate. Where's that bullet going to end up going?
That's right. Exactly.
So you can't fire a warning shot in that type of situation. I mean, perhaps you could fire it maybe into the person's lawn, but if there's a sprinkler pipe or anything else in that lawn and that bullet ricochets and flies up in the air, and it's hard to say. I think Folsom Prison has a rule, or not a rule, I'm sorry, a record, if you want to even call it that, where everybody during an incident ended up prone on the ground, and the officer fired a shot. It ricocheted, and it skimmed along the ground at about 2 inches above the ground, and it actually went through 5 people that were laying on the ground. So you can't do warning shots. I think that officer had great situational awareness and took out what he deemed as the greatest threat.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's basically what I wanted to say. I know you had a gentleman on there earlier who stated that you don't have many law enforcement people that do watch your channel, but I'll let you know there is at least one more myself. I do appreciate what you do. I appreciate your insight, and congratulations on your marriage. And I hope you guys have a successful wedded bliss there.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. You take care of yourself.
All right. Great call. All right. Let's do 928. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is Sonny.
All right, man. What's going on?
ABL. Hey, how's it going? I got through about 6 months ago and talked to you. I'll try to keep it short. Just the stuff that's going on with the case of the guy with the knee on his neck, George Floyd, whatever. It's kind of brought up Black Lives Matter stuff, and got me thinking, because I tried to just not think about this stuff anymore because it's just so ridiculous. But I guess it's more to callers who are supporters of Black Lives Matter. I worked in the homeless service provider field for 10 years in California, and so I was kind of I was surrounded by the liberal ideology a lot, and a part of me believed in it and believed that there was some, truth to it. And, but as the years went on, as I worked in the homeless service provider field, I saw that, all these liberals that claim to be liberals and claim to care about equality and claim to care about all this stuff, they completely ignore the homeless population. And in California, the homeless population, population is just exploding every year. It's growing exponentially. And, all this talk about people being oppressed and all this, I really get tired of hearing about it, because if I were to just look at my experience and what I've seen in my life, as far as Americans in America, who would be the most oppressed group of people if there are people in America that are oppressed? It would be the homeless by far. All other groups of people would pale in comparison. Yet all these people who claim to be social justice warriors, or whatever they call themselves now, it's just all a complete and ridiculous joke. And that's kind of my hashtag walk away story. I know you're familiar with the term and your viewers are. I just got so completely disgusted with all these privileged people, that come from privilege and get their pink hair, and they go on these protests about whatever, feminism and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff, while they completely ignore the homeless population. And I mean, I worked in the field for 10 years, and I've had a prior 10 years experience to that. And I saw a lot of black people that were homeless. I saw a lot of white people that were homeless. I saw a lot of women that were homeless. But I never once did I ever see anybody, any of these so-called Democrat, leftist, liberals ever stand up demanding justice for them. And if you look at like the history, the last few years of Martin Luther King's legacy, he tried to create the Poor People's Campaign, and he was assassinated before they could do the Poor People's Campaign march. But I'm just like, what? I don't understand. These people are so completely uneducated. They know nothing about Martin Luther King. Their ideas about what equality is they're cherry pickers. They're so skewed. And so that's kind of was my hashtag walk away, where I couldn't take it anymore. It's just so ridiculous. And the other thing I would like to add is I caught a clip of Trump being interviewed on President Trump being interviewed on Larry King Live in the late 90s. And he said that we need to stop giving our money to all these countries who don't care about us, who would rather see us dead, when that we could be using that money could go to homeless Americans and poor farmers and address these kinds of problems in America. And that totally resonates with me. That's why I voted for Trump in 2020. And because I've never heard a politician ever say anything as real and true and down to earth as that. And I guess this is just kind of shout out to Black Lives Matter supporters that are calling in and stuff. I don't understand where this your principles lie when it comes to equality and stuff. And so that's about all I had to say, but I don't want to take up a lot of time.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. Shout out to the caller, but that will be a wrap for the callers for tonight. If you couldn't get on, it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man for that. But thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internets, anywhere in the world. I'll be back live again Saturday. I'll be here Saturday this time for real. Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I will be here live on the show. And I thank y'all again for being here. The best audience on the internets. Shout out to the mods for keeping them trolls in check, keeping everything nice and orderly. I appreciate you for that. And I got super chats on deck. I'm going to read those right quick, and then I'm out. And let me start where are we at. I don't really know. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Oh, I think here's a good one. Shout out to FA Ranger Xbox, who says, single parents, usually women raising kids, teach them to be emotional and not factual like men. I do not allow my son to act on emotions. There you go. Very good. Everybody has emotions, but as a man, you must master your emotions, and you can't act off of emotion. You got to act on logic. So very good. Shout out to Chad, who says parents want police to do more training and act like they haven't been able to teach their own kids how to act right for 16 plus years. Exactly. Right on. Shout out to Kevin, who says, goes on the military. I ain't gonna say the word right there. Learn something about life and serve your country. Be part of the solution and not the problem. I'm talking about one of the callers that called in. Thank you for that. Shout out to Motor Love, who says, thank you for sharing your wedding day photos. So beautiful to see the people want to do it the right way. Congrats. Thank you. I appreciate you. Shout out to Per Kayla, who says, why don't the people complaining about police get off their butts and go become police? There you go. Put their lives on the line. Put up or shut up. Thank you to Tyrant's Bane TDOA, who says, Skype name, Tiger Mag. We can't debate on your platform. Needs to be neutral platform with a moderator. However, I'll call and have a civil talk. I mean, we going to debate. Either we going to do it here or nowhere. That's how I carry it. Thank you to Rickety Rex, who says, not sure why the caller feels law enforcement officers should step over the law to fetch stolen drugs. Ivan likes to hear himself echoing back. Thank you to Big Al, who says, why can't idiots learn to stop fighting cops? Rickety Rex says, Ivan clearly knows nothing about fentanyl. I seen an officer with gloves and mask bag. I seen an officer with gloves and mask bag fentanyl end up on the ground, knocked out. My colleagues are like Ivan. Shout out to Just Incredible, who says, man, that caller that wouldn't listen about Floyd needs both his eyes and ears checked. Floyd resisted the entire time. Exactly. let me see. Let me go back to where I was. Hold on. Let me see. Rudra. I know I'm tearing your name up, and I'm sorry. Blame the white man. It's not my fault. Rudra. Aryavarta says, I'm from Indianapolis. Police officers here are most professional, but the citizens here have this elitist, entitled type attitude. Very unfortunate. See, that's the problem right there. It's the citizens, not the officers. Thank you to Adam for saying late congrats on the wedding. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. You're very kind for your donation. Thank you to Tyrant's Bane TDOA who says 323. Leo says these liberals like Pelosi don't care about you or me. They only care about one thing, the money they take in from these organizations. There you go. Let me see. Shout out to JC Widow who says police officers, but they need to start standing up to local government or lead to people like on the cities don't care about you or want you there. You're going to go to jail for doing your job. Thank you to Angel who says, hey, ABL, in my opinion, Derrick Chauvin was negligent in preserving his own job and livelihood and continuously by subduing the already subdued man. He saw what happened to the police in the Eric Garner case. Thank you to Devin who says, ABL, we hope you and your beautiful bride have many blessed years together. Love wins again. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you to DB Burgess who says, Stimmy Ribes. David Delasco says, shut down the media for 90 days and watch how fast over 90% of the problems go away. Very good point. Thank you to Lewis from Spain who says, agree with all the facts you gave in Floyd case. He was a thug. He resisted. He was on drugs, but it never meant Chauvin was innocent. And also said Chauvin executed that maneuvered so poorly. Vertical position, putting almost all his weight on the net for so long. Sorry, he did too much. Thank you to David who says, right on, ABL, US emoji. Thank you to Matthew who says, Kelly Thomas. Shout out to Yardley who says, you're right, bro. The cop action was justified. Talking about the one probably in Ohio, right? Thank you to Tyrant Spain TDOA who says, your chat room is great at launching ad hominem attacks. Bottom line is, you want the murder rate to go down and empower the people, abolish gun control. And he also says, I'm a vet, not a cop, but I know about serving and duty. To your caller, I don't need to know how to be a cop. But I know how to be decent. Matthew says, a lot of bad quality calls tonight, connection-wise. Live streams always A+. Did the BLM riots start already affecting Wi-Fi? Lots of white men to blame tonight. Can you see this? Hello? Raina says, I actually don't agree. While a lot of people may have great insight, why would they join the same establishment they are critiquing? I hate when people say join. Why would I join the same thing I hate? Because you can change it. If you hate the establishment, you join it and change it. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you feel like, it's just like people that run for office. It's just like when Trump was asked, hey, would you run for office? Like way back in the late 80s, early 90s. He was like, well, if I had to. He's not necessarily a fan of politics, but he'll do it to try and make a difference. You may not like certain things that are going on, but you join, you become part of it and become part of the solution rather than crying about the problem. It's like, okay, if you see a bunch of trash in your street, you don't like trash in your street. You don't like litterers, but you join some kind of something to figure out a way to pick up the trash or go out there and pick up trash yourself. That's just kind of how I see it. Shout out to the anti-view who says, Chauvin immediately stood and calmly placed his hands behind his back. Imagine where we would be if George had done the same. Thank you to Luca Brazzi who says, no more sports. By NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB, and ESPN, they don't like police. They don't need their security at games. Thank you to Brighton who says, great show. Thank you. Thank you for your support. And shout out to all you guys for watching, supporting, retweeting, liking, whatever you're doing. Thank you for that. I'll be back live again Saturday of this week. I may be live tomorrow on Brandon's show if he's going to be in town. Hopefully we get that show back rocking and rolling. But that'll be it. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.